Can you hear me? You guys hear me? Please tell me. Is that working now? Please tell me you can see that. Gotta be, right? Oh, guys, I've been talking to myself for like the last 10 minutes, thinking it was live because everything was there. I swear, I swear, I swear, because you, I swear, I swear I've been live since 7. I promise you. I've just been talking to myself and then watching the chat window. So apparently, apparently the scheduled stream is more convoluted than I anticipated. So because basically I set up a scheduled stream, right? So you go in and you go, right, I'm going to stream at this time and that sort of stuff. But that basically assigns you this slot. So when I came to go live tonight, it like I was just like, why can't I go live? Like I can't go live, and then obviously figured out I needed to go through the actual stream, and then yeah, and then what's worse is I've just been chatting to you, chatting to you for 10 minutes. Right. So how long have you, Leo? I've been chatting since the very start, like literally the very start, because the chat was still moving. You guys were still commenting, and I thought you were responding to me, going, "Oh yeah, he's late," which I was a couple of minutes late. So yeah, so I've literally just been talking to myself for what, 15 minutes? Yeah, classic. Oh man, I had the song on and everything. You guys didn't hear the song, nothing. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, look, lesson learned. Lesson learned. All right. I think we can all agree that we've grown as people, and we can move on. I was even looking through your images and everything. I was looking through your shots and that sort of stuff. I guess we just, yeah, I guess just start again. Yeah. Thank you so much to everybody that hung around for 15 minutes as you saw nothing, just as me talking into the void. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus Christ, Sin. Honestly, Sin's got no chill. Absolutely savage. But yeah. So thank you, Steve, for letting me know that you can see and hear me, and I'm glad that we got there in the end. You know, as a community, I think we all rallied together, and you know, it's just fantastic to see you all rooting for me. I like this. As always, appreciate the support. So if you're new here, there's no way there's anybody new here that stuck around. There's absolutely no way. There's absolutely no way there's still anybody new here. But if by some chance you are new here and you're wondering what the hell's going on, every couple of weeks do a live stream and just have a chat about latest releases and bits and pieces like that, as well as news, and then we usually cover a specific topics. Maybe it'll be a product that I've been sent lighting wise that I go over, and then like today we're gonna have a read through the one of the chapters from my new Color 2.0 lighting course. So we'll go over that, talk about my thoughts on that, and then what we'll do is we'll also take a look at the images that you guys have been working on, right? And every couple of weeks we do a share a shoot, which is via my Facebook page here. So I will post this in the comments again with more context now, and yeah, so if you wanted to post an image, then you certainly can do. Just go over there, follow the link, and pop an image in the comments. Let's have a look again at what you guys have posted. Like before, I know you couldn't hear me, Jamie, but a minute ago I was praising this image. Just, whew, you just have to take my word for it, because I'm not going to do it again. And as loving to see the color there. It feels legit second time around, right? Like, Leonard, this I was impressed at. We'll have a look at these later on, but yeah, this I was impressed at, and I'm impressed the second time around. And Paul, I can't read it. Maybe it's long exposure or maybe it's prism or something. But yeah, we'll have a look at that. And then Tony as well, our man from down under. Yeah. Oh, Trevor, you just made it, mate. You've missed so much, Trevor. Honestly, I'm not even sure. I mean, I will go over most of it a second time just for you, Trevor, as soon as you turned up late. So, yeah, don't worry. If there's stuff that I recover, it's because Trevor turned up late. Yeah. Can't believe Alan was actually dropping the yawning emotes. Only the Brits are savage. Like, it's only the Brits that are absolutely just tearing me apart. Fucking hell. Honest to God. I don't know what I've done to deserve you lot. But yeah, here we are. Yeah. Let's have a look. Forgot the Mrs. Birthday. You sabotaged. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He wasn't praising mine. It's too saturated. You still got some colour in it, mate. You still got some colour in it. It's all right. Or the dog, yeah. Exactly, Joe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I can't believe I shared so many amazing things as well. That first 10 minutes. Oh well. Okay. Right. So, Steve, there's no list of links in the comments here. Steve even in here? Steve's not even here. Oh my God! Like, oh, he is there. He came in. Yeah. So Steve said he can see and hear me. A legend. Yeah. Okay. Thankfully, somebody was being professional. Right. So let's have a look at a couple of bits that were going to be news-wise. There wasn't anything crazy, right? Product-wise, wasn't any big announcements. Really? The last couple of weeks, nothing that really stood out to me. I mean, the closest thing I could find to new-ish was the Godox trigger here, which is hardly exciting, right? Like, I'm not sure who this is. I'm not sure who this is exciting for. Yeah, Sin, we've been live for ages. Where have you been? Yeah. Yeah. So new trigger, like the old one, I will say, like the X3. Very impressed with that. I will say, very, very impressed with this trigger when I used it. I thought it was like, I mean, it's got touchscreen, all that sort of stuff, and lights up, and it's a very good trigger. Yeah. But did it need the upgrade? I don't know. Like, I can't really see. I had a quick look to see what the difference is between the old and the new one, and it's not a huge amount. There's a couple more options for like grouping and that sort of stuff, but yeah, one thing, it was interesting. I was wondering if that was going to turn on, because this was charged weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and I haven't used it since, mainly because I shoot a lot of LED now. And that's still got a charge in it. So I was curious, because there's one of the downsides for me is that there's no batteries in this. You got to charge it via USB-C, and I was kind of concerned that the internal battery, like, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my God, I got a shoot coming up, and then you can just throw some AA's in it, but with this you can't. Yeah. Yeah. So Steve says just a bigger screen. So that's interesting. I couldn't see. Yeah, I wonder what the. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's actually a chunk bigger, unless she's got tiny hands. Yeah. But you can see relatively the size. I mean, that's the USB-C port there, so you can see the yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's actually a chunk bigger. Yeah, because the USB-C port on the bottom of that one is like a quarter of the base of it. Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a thing, Steve, with the size of it. I did notice, actually. I just tend to do it all with the button and the dial here, adjusting everything with the button and the dial, and I could definitely see the touchscreen being far more user friendly. Obviously, why they're showing it there like that. Yeah, true. Okay. I mean, for those people still shooting flash, right? Yeah, it looks like a dial on the side too. Yeah, Terry, the dial on the side is what I use for most of it. It is touchscreen, but one thing that I really kind of liked about it was you could do everything with one hand, just with that dial, because the dial pushes in, and so you just click, and then you can just rotate, right? So it was. Yeah, I think it's very well done. Yeah, you can do everything in a single hand like that. Spin and click. You can go down through all the menus and dials, and then just access them all. Via the click. So yeah, I think it was very well designed. Yeah. Huge battery life, lasts a month. Yeah, I did see on that. Hey Darius, how you doing, mate? I can't believe you turned up late, Darius. It's just disgraceful. People like that. Oh, you can see it on the top there. Jesus Christ, yes, a right dinner plate, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did see it at the bottom there, so what did it say? There you go, yeah. So 1 month standby time, 2 hours, achieving full recharge. Okay, so you charges fully in 2 hours. Okay, yeah. It's also got an intervalometer built in, I believe. Okay, Steve. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. If you need that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's almost double the size there, right? Obviously lengthways. Yeah. They got Hamble from Play School to do the hand modeling screen. Yeah. I was thinking that. I was like, is that a tiny finger? Yeah, just looked and didn't realize mine as well. And I have the X32. Yeah, nice. It is good though. Yeah, it is good. Yeah. Like I said, the only downside for me was not being able to sling a couple of AA batteries into it if something happens, right? Yeah. So it is kind of one of those things on like a big shoot where you would almost need two. If you were kind of stressing about it, and on a major shoot, depending on how much you're using it and that sort of stuff, you basically always have one on charge and then one on the camera. Look, it's not ideal, but for things like that, I get super paranoid on shoots where you've got stuff like that, like LED lights that can only be run off of batteries is kind of a no-no for me, right? I kind of really want that option to be able to plug them in if need be. And even those Godox soda can lights, which were awesome, man. I forget what they were called, but they had a specialist back that you could kind of switch off the battery and plug it in, and you could run it off the mains, which is what I actually did for a shoot not too long ago. Had it plugged in. You're just not worrying about the battery then if you've got if you can plug it in. So yeah, I am super paranoid about battery stuff like that, especially stuff that's charged via USB and stuff. Yeah. It seems like people were excited for it. I think it was like 80 quid or something. Yeah, £88 here in the UK. Yeah. Yeah. It ain't cheap. How much is the OG one? Like the original one. Was that it there? Is that the original one there? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a trigger. I mean, I guess they cost that. I mean, I think the old... Well, I'm going back a few years now, but for some reason in my brain, I know the old Bowens ones were like 50, 60 quid. So I guess it makes sense. Yeah. I guess it makes sense. Yeah. You see how small it is compared to the other one now. Yeah, you can definitely see it. Yeah. Yeah. Original's about 40 quid. You can get it for 40 quid soon. Okay. Coming in at a twice the price is yeah. I mean, if you need it, right? Yeah. The soda cans have a great name, as most of the Goddard's products. Yeah, they have a great name for that. And look, they bring this on themselves, right? Because they always going, oh, make sure you mention this and mention that. It's like I can barely remember my own name. I'm not remembering some fucking barcode. It's just please give them a name, like, and then I'll remember it. Because soda cans is all you get out of me, I'm afraid. Yeah. How you doing, beauty? How you doing? Originally about 40 quid, not the one with the screen. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, still don't get why they don't do remote camera trigger with the X Pro line. That was the one great thing with the Youngyo having a super reliable RF trigger. Okay. Remote camera trigger. Okay. So what are you using that for, Leo? Are you using that for what, having like a camera like coming kind of up in the rafters and that sort of thing? Is that what you're talking about? Can you trigger these via your phone with the trigger? Can you do that or not? Is it still not a thing? I suppose you can test it, but you can't fire the camera. Okay. Yeah. Is that what you mean, Leo? Is that what you mean about like you want to be able to fire the camera if the camera is away? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Having the camera up high, or even when doing aero pastel light painting. Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, so the camera's on the tripod and you're in the shot doing the light painting. Yeah. So Terry says the new one you can. Is that right, Terry? You can fire it. You can fire it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Can we stop? Vlad, look, I'm right there with you. Do you guys use your phones like with the apps to adjust the lights and that sort of thing? Do you guys do that? I think I've done it like a couple of times. Yeah, most of the time you'll see me like including it in a BTS for like a review, not because I was using it, but because I need to include it for the review. I gotta be honest. Yeah, I don't know if I do or not. I mean, there was a shoot in the I did a bathroom shoot a couple of months back, and the light was in a pain in the ass place, and I think I did hook it up then. And in fairness to them, those Coke can lights were very easy to kind of set up, and it was kind of clamped to in a weird spot that I had to get on a ladder and stuff up there. So in those situations, but in the studio, I don't. I tend to just walk around and adjust them manually. It's not the end of the world. I did a water shoot the other day, and the light was kind of in the water pool, as it were, and I was like, you know what, this would have been the perfect time to sync these up. But with that particular light, I needed to go over there and sync it up and then come back. So I was like, well, I'm over there anyway. I'm just going to adjust the light and come back. It's just the issue being is I had to, get my feet wet, dry them off, and all that sort of stuff. So, obviously having it set up to the app would have been the smartest thing. Yeah. Terry thinks so. Yeah, I couldn't see it there, man. Yeah. But don't be at all surprised. Pair the XP wireless control from your phone. Adjust power, group settings, and trigger flashes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I can see the test button here. And it says via Bluetooth for complete wireless control of your phone or tablet, adjust power, group settings, and trigger flashes. So I don't know whether you can fire it. Oh, here we go. Program single shot, time lapse. But that's on the actual device itself. Okay. I don't know whether it fires the camera. Yeah. Because the way that's worded, trigger flashes remotely. I could be wrong, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but that says only if the light is higher than 2.5 meters. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, it's usually pretty quick and easy just to move them around. Does anybody else use the apps to control the lights? Yeah. After you're done, test trigger flashes, you can switch the app and use the remote app for your camera. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't like the process with the phone. You know, I've got the camera in my hand. You know, I can adjust the stuff on top here, and I guess you could get like a hot shoe phone holder, right? And you could have your phone locked into your hot shoe, and you could adjust it there and that sort of thing. I don't know. I've always kind of been a bit old school with that. Even when triggers could adjust the flashes themselves, I still kind of preferred to walk around the set and kind of see what the light was doing, you know, stand where the light is, and kind of make, especially with LEDs now, you know, you kind of want to go over there and you kind of want to see what it's doing. It's just me, right? It's just me, you know. I kind of like to be in the set, as it were, and see what everything's doing, and take a couple of extra seconds to walk around and do it. But like, don't get me wrong, it's great to have the apps there for that convenience. Like I said, the water is in the light is in the water, or it's up high and, you know, weird spot. Yeah, it's good to have, right? Yeah. Okay. Is anybody going to buy this? Anybody going to get this? Does anybody own the original X3? So I think Terry, you said you've got the original, or Leo said he's got the original. Yeah. Breach. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay, so just a couple of bits here. Control with trigger is got. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Or good even. Just kind of couple of bits here, and it's really because it's kind of like a slow news week, but I just kind of want to mention these, as I personally found it interesting, us seeing this resurgence. But the Analog AF1 is the new point and shoot film camera with autofocus. So this is a film camera. So this is a new brought to market, or will be brought to market, film, as in analog film that you buy in the store and have to get developed, right? So the AF1 is a brand new film camera design from Analog, a design agency based in Amsterdam, aiming for release early 2026. The AF1 promises an accessible and affordable point-and-shoot camera, autofocus, and automatic film winding made from scratch. The way that this is worded comes across as like, guys, it's finally happening. We're actually getting autofocus and automatic film winding on a film camera. Pretty wild. Like, it's just, I find it odd. Designed by photographers, the AF1 combines timeless aesthetic with modern usability. Okay, iconic compacts like Olympus, yada yada, as well as practical favorites like the Minolta, Pentax. Yeah, so just kind of listing off a couple of the. I mean, like, you've all seen them, right? I'm sure you, like, you know, your parents had them or whatever. Crafted for one-handed use. Like, we're really struggling to find features, if we got to say one-handed use. Features a firm grip, diamond cut edges, lens barrier, that sort of stuff. So, I mean, like, you know, it's a chunky camera because it has to be, right? It's literally got to fit the film in there and wind it on. Looks like you got a little readout here. Yeah. So the autofocus drives a fixed 35mm f2.8 minimum f16 lens. Extracted with 6 elements. Okay. So this is like, are we seeing the proper resurgence now? Is this it? Is this really happening? How much is this thing? $600. 450 euros. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a point and shoot film camera. That's crazy. That's crazy. We got higher prices than expected. It's supposed to be a new product from scratch. Interesting seeing how it turns out. It's fair. It's fair. It is a lot more than I expected. But like our commenter down there said, I mean, it's a brand new product being brought to market. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of to be expected. But yeah, interesting. Tears from my blood. Like, 600 quid, man. You could get a fairly half decent, especially secondhand on eBay. You could get a pretty decent digital camera for that. But this is not for those people, right? This is not, I'm looking to spend 600 quid on a camera, what shall I get? This is not an option for those people. You know, this is or 500 quid or whatever it's going to be. You know. So the reason I just brought it up, I just find it fascinating that this is coming back around in kind of like a fairly serious way. And yeah, I wonder if it'll take off. I mean, look, we've seen Instax and Polaroids and all that sort of stuff have been going on for a while, so we'll see. Give me the Polaroid. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Come on, catch it. It seems not available till December. I'm waiting for Black Friday. You're talking about the trigger, Steve, right? You're talking about the trigger? Yeah. Which is fair, yeah. Analog lives. Apparently so. Yeah. I don't even know any place where I'm going to develop that film. Super niche now, I think. That's a good point, Trevor. That's a good point. Yeah, and look, I think a lot of newer people to this definitely overlook that. I mean, how much is a roll of what? Kodak Gold 200. Like, it doesn't get any cheaper than this, and doesn't get any cheaper than this. Is that 35 mil? So look, you can get a pack of 3 for 27 quid plus delivery, so like 30 quid, so £10 a roll now. Is that where we're at with it? Okay. Jesus, that's kind of nuts, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you could shop around and get something cheaper, but it would be kind of weird to buy the Ferrari and then throw a couple of junk shop tires on it. Do you know what I mean? It would just be weird. Okay, so it costs a tenner to cost dev. Analog Wonderland again, 35 mil. Boom. What do we got? C41 standard scans. So just scans, right? So 13. Okay. So I mean, look, you're looking at 25 quid to buy the film and get it processed. That's basically what we're talking about here. Yeah. I wonder what premium tips an extra $5. Okay. I mean, you're not going to go through all this and then not get proper high res scan. So you're looking at around about 30 quid, and that's not including postage with all this of the film to you and all that sort of thing. So, and I presume that's 36 frames. So to your point, Trevor, yeah, I think yes, it's tricky to find places to do it, but look, it's a niche, and it's like a fine wine or a posh cheese or something like that. People enjoy it and people are prepared to pay the extra for it, and fine, yeah. Again, only bringing it up because I find it kind of interesting that like having the cameras is one thing, but new cameras being developed, kind of wild, man. Kind of wild. Yeah. Accessible and affordable point and shoot film, like every point and shoot on the secondhand market for 5 quid. I mean, how much is a point and shoot on eBay now, right? What are we, like 35 mil compact? That's actually a good one. Yeah, that's actually a good one. So like, 40, 50 quid, yeah, 20 quid there, yeah. Oh, hello. Look at this little selection. Can you stop doxing me, please? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Vlad's right. You can pick these up. You got 40 minutes if you want to get 20 film cameras for a tenner. Go wild. So yeah, like the options are certainly out there. But yeah, but again, quality, that sort of thing, right? It's why people buy Leicas, I guess. Wait, I thought all point and shoots have autofocus. They kind of trick you, Sam, because they have a very small aperture typically. When I say small, it's like maybe f8 or something like that. So they kind of, and like a wide 28mm lens or something like that. So they kind of, and then it's covered in grainy noise, or sort of grain. Sorry, or Vlad tells me off. So and the image is covered in like chunky grain. So you're kind of tricked into thinking that the images are in focus. Yeah, you know those cameras you have like two sliders. It's either like a little picture of the human or it's a picture of the mountains. Like that's the two ranges you've got. Yeah. One-handed, I shoot my camera one-handed sideways. Too much for my blood. Yeah. No. Give me the Polaroid. Yeah. It's close to $1,000 Canadian. It's a lot, man. It's a lot for a point and shoot film. Yeah. Steve says yes to trigger. Yeah, gotcha. $600. It's better to open gate video with images, stabilization, store multiple rolls of film, come with presets. Jesus. Yeah. I have to up my prices on film emulation. Yeah, right. They're out there buying them, man. Yeah, my presets are $25. It's literally cheaper than a roll of film. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when you put it into that kind of perspective, it is wild. Yeah. Yeah, for scenery, it's also better to print the images instantly. Yeah, and where they're sealed. True. Yeah, I suppose looking at it like fine wine or something like that, the right way to look at it is not about the cost, it's the love of the game. Exactly, Trevor. Yeah, and no, it's fine. It's fine. You know, the Leica thing is a good example for me, and you know the people who shoot Leica swear by it, right? I mean, and I'm sure it's worth $5,000 to walk around the streets and shoot one, but you know it's you know it's like people listen to vinyl, right? You know, it's the warmth of the noise, and look, I've got my foibles as well. That there's weird stuff that I swear by that other people are like, that's just, you know, Emperor's new clothes, Jake. You know, so we've all got them. You know. Through a mill in a search box was a mistake. Just type in film camera and bet you get a better price. Oh, really, Vlad? Yeah, because yeah, that's true. Actually, you want to you want to get the you want to get what the mums are searching for. It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. So kind of following on from that, we got this one here. Now, this is digital, but it's kind of in the same vein, right? So we got a brand new camera company is making a spiritual successor to the Lumix GM5. So lifelong photographer Komi Kultat absolutely nailed it. Co-founded Esquisse Camera, nailed it, to develop a brand new Micro Four Thirds camera that channels the spirit of popular compact cameras of the past while delivering the performance demanding modern cameras expect. So, like, I mean, this is really knocked back, right? I mean, this is absolutely bare bones and kind of into it. Now, Micro Four Thirds, you know, knee-jerk reaction. You can see the tiny little box in there. It's actually better than you think, right? I think my X100 is Micro Four Thirds, and this, like, the images that thing captures is crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, it is definitely better than you think. Yeah. Exquisite means sketch. With it still more than a year out from expected launch, so Q4 next year. Yeah. Our goal is to capture the timeless shooting feel of the Leica M, the pocketability of the Ricoh, and the modern performance of today's cameras. Okay, so yeah, there's something there's something there. There is something there. Right? Can I get guesses on price for this? Guesses on price for this. This is bare bones, Micro Four Thirds, brand new product coming to market late next year. No mention of a lens. I don't know whether it comes with a lens. Like I said, I see no mention of it. But what do we think the price of this is going to be? Team has already started several details about the camera, despite it still being in early stages of development. Micro Four Thirds sensor will be at least 20 megapixels. Now, some of you may think, 20, you know, I don't shoot anything less than 45. Like 20 is plenty, right? 20 is really going to be more than enough. I don't know the exact translation from 35mm, but it's not much, right? Like 6 megapixels is probably 35mm, and it's not even about the size of the megapixels; it's the quality of the pixels, right? How much, would you rather have? Okay, I'm gonna put it like this: would I rather have a 6 megapixel camera with an image taken at 100 ISO or native ISO to 200 if you like, or would I rather have a 100 megapixel camera with an image taken at 1200 ISO? Like, I know which one I'm taking. you know. So it's not about the megapixels, it really is about the quality, which we'll have to see, you know. So this little fella is tiny, right? I mean, it's you know, it's Diddy, yeah. What, 4 by 3 inches, man? It's like a, yeah. I mean, it's like, it's probably like that, yeah. I forgot that was there. I didn't even think it's got any battery left in it. So yeah, I mean, you could easily have that in your pocket, depending on the lens. We don't know what. Yeah, so the squeezy will feature electronic viewfinder. So 3.6 million dot OLED EVF. So it's not going to be through the camera, obviously, because it takes up a lot of room. You know, that was the issue with DSLRs. You got all that space for the mirrors and all that sort of stuff. So this is obviously going to be EVF. Pretty standard, right? Pretty standard. It also comes with 256 gig internal storage, Wi-Fi. Yeah, okay. At least 300 shots. Oh, look at you lot! Yeah, here we come. Premium camera at a reasonable price. 26. These features are specifically a certain compelling. For the team is targeting a retail price between $1.5 and $2,000. Premium price, beauty, coming, quality, value, team rights. Okay, yeah. So we can see here. So we got, like we saw up here, super bare bones. You got the shutter, exposure compensation dial, which is nice to have that there. You know, you're looking through, you can kind of tune it in, which is fine. ISO there as well. So where's the shutter speed then? Why wouldn't you have that there? Are they saying that that's like all going to be on the lens? Like, unless I'm missing something. Where's the normally like the shutter speed with either? I mean, yeah, we'll see. Camera have a shutter release, independent ISO and exposure control dials, clickable control wheel. Weird. It's just gonna, okay, you just shoot an aperture priority and get on with it, like, or maybe, yeah. There's no way that doesn't have a shutter speed. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, Yeah. Let's have a look. The manifesto. Nice. I mean, it looks like a beautiful camera. It looks, you know, it absolutely looks beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I must be being dumb, but there must be a shutter speed on there somewhere. Yeah. Still, you need a chunk of spare cash to be like, yeah, that'll be cool. Grab that, whack that in my pocket, job done. Yeah. Let's see what we got in here. X100 is APS-C. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure what these. So what is it? Micro 4 versus APS-C. We got a size chart here. There we go. Okay, so pretty close. What was this one? So this was a smaller one then. Okay, the one we were looking at there was even smaller. So this one was, what did it say? Micro Four Thirds, right? Yeah, and the Fujis are APS-C. Okay. Good shout, Vlad. Yeah, good shout. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Yeah, and you can see what are DSLRs or whatever madness you guys are shooting these days. Let's see. Hicks being the maestro of colors, maybe you should develop a new film roll. Yeah, right. That would be that would be fun. That would be a fun project. Yeah. So Vlad reckoned at 800. Yeah. Yeah. Steve said 2,500. Trevor 1,500 Canadian. Oh, I thought you got it right, man. So how much is that? So who was closest then? Yeah. I love my Panasonic Micro Four Thirds. Still more fun to use than my full frames. I mean, that's it, Sam. It's like, what are you going to actually use, right? If you're out and about shooting on the streets or on holiday and that sort of stuff, like this is why I just stopped taking my DSLRs. You know, I did used to take the big cameras on trips and that sort of stuff, and you just don't end up using it. Which is why I just bought the X100. You just use it way more, and it's just a lot more fun, right? It's just, you know, it's just snappy. You see something, have a bit of a play with, you know, with the dials, and boom, you know, and then you're on to the next thing. So I would definitely agree with you in terms of the fun factor. Yeah, you know, I have a pocketable Sony with a 1-inch sensor, smaller than my 4/3, and got lots of awesome shots in it, including the one I posted today. Okay, pocketable Sony with 1-inch sensor. Yeah. Okay, 1-inch sensor. So like, is it just a random size sensor? Weird. Yeah. What else we got? So we got not many lenses. There was a couple, but this one kind of stood out to me. The Sony New 100 f2.8 Macro GM is the best macro lens ever. So I'm not sure if this applies to many of you guys in here. Like, it's not, you know, I don't really shoot macro, but I know it's a major thing for people. And I just kind of wanted to mention this because it's pretty impressive. I mean, not that I would use it, but I think you can get up to like 3.5 inches away from it. I think it's got like, I think normally it's 1:1. This one is like 1:4:1, which is kind of cool. And the shots look nuts. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that depth of field, man. Focus drop off. So this is clean. This is a quality lens for sure. And like, I didn't think that this was crazy, right? I didn't think that this price was too wild for what it is. I mean, what is it? The 70-200 Canon lens is like $2,000. So this is a niche lens. Yeah, I think if you were spending decent money on your camera, I don't think this would be unreasonable to spend this sort of money on this lens, considering the quality that it's offering. You know, all these bells and whistles and dials and all that sort of stuff is one thing, but you know, how do they look? The shots looked clean, man. Like, just not really any distortion here. I mean, difficult to talk about the vignetting really, but it doesn't really seem to be too much there. I mean, yeah, I think if you were into that sort of thing, that would be a serious lens for sure. So yeah, like I said, I don't really think it's relevant to most of you guys and girls in here shoot portraits and that sort of thing, but still, nice to see a quality bit of kit coming out like that. Yeah. It's not random. It's kind of the standard for compact cameras. So is it specifically, is that the thing that they use? It just not when you're not in the higher end bracket, as it were. Yeah. Hicks film, the Ilford film killer. Yeah. The what is the Cine Still film? That one, you know, that costs crazy money to buy, but it's got beautiful kind of bloom in the colours and that sort of thing. That is definitely one film that I love using, but you kind of need the right shoot for it, you know. And that's what I mean. I won't go off on too much of a tangent here, but that's what film stocks were for. You know, you would choose and purchase the film stock for the job that you had coming up. You know, if it was going to be shot at dusk, you needed something. If it was going to be shot in the studio, you would use something else. If it was going to be outside in natural light, you'd use something. And so there's a huge amount of knowledge in terms of film stocks. It's not just about what ISO you use, but it's about the colors that you want and that you need. You know, how do the yellows look on this? How do the reds? How do the skin tones look on this? What about the greens if we're doing a wedding and, you know, outside in the garden and all that sort of stuff? It was, you know, it was kind of a lot of pre-thought that went into choosing film before a shoot, which obviously nobody really thinks about now. They just whack a preset on it afterwards, and jobs are good, and right. Yeah. The older version was around 700 quid. How much magic are you getting for the big price increase? You're talking about this lens here, Sin? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah. So I presume you're talking about this one here, the old one. Okay. Sony announced the first master G lens dedicated to macro photography. The 2.8 arrives a decade after Sony's 90mm 2.8. Okay. And look, I'll be the first to agree with you on this, in that, like, glass has been pretty transparent for a long time now. And not that anybody will remember this, but many years ago I did an article where I tested like a Nikon lens from the 70s, one from the 90s, and like one from 2010 or something like that. And so I, and it was granted it was a studio shot, but it's not much difference, man. Like, I'm talking about a lens from the 70s compared to one from 2010 or something like that. Don't get me wrong, there's convenience there. There is convenience with the bells and whistles, but in terms of the like the actual quality, like I said, glass has been pretty transparent for a long time now. So look, I'm with you on that. I think if you already own the 90, it's probably going to be fine, right? Those of you looking to get a lens, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of 90s hitting the market though, as people upgrade. Let's see what people are saying down here. There you go. First comment. There you go. So yeah, I mean, there's at least one. There's at least one going on at eBay tonight. Yeah. Somebody just bought a 90. Yeah. Yep. I never got into macro as they primarily advertise bug photography. Yeah. So they have any practical uses for portraits, and can you just use them as sort of magnification in front of the lens? I've never really played with them, to be honest with you. Yeah, and if I've had to shoot macro, I've got converters to shoot the macro part with just a normal lens. I don't own any specific macro lenses, and like models and that sort of, as in, I see people do incredible stuff with models where they're setting up sets and that sort of stuff at home with model, like figurines, whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know, like, what else can you use it for? Like you say, is there an anti macro converter that you can actually use it in the studio? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, because how far away can it focus? Like, can you just use it and it's just not as good as a normal portrait lens? Will it focus further away? I mean, it looks like you can go further away with it here. Yeah, you got infinite 3. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's got half a meter. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So Sin says he's got the older one. Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah. Isn't any macro lens going up to infinity anyway? Oh, he's got to, right? I mean, it has to. Yeah. Like I said, I've never used a tailored macro lens for portraits. I guess you could like flip it round, hold it in front of the camera, and that would work that way. Jamie says, I've used the 90mm Sony macro for portraits. Well, once, really need to do more. I mainly used it for flat lays, like zero aberration compared to the 85mm prime. Yeah, I mean that's what it looks like, right? I mean, it's insane. I was just genuinely impressed as I was going through, because this is not. I mean, I don't shoot Sony, I don't shoot macro or anything like that. I just kind of have a look at the images, and I was like that is, yeah, like Jamie's saying here, it's just zero in terms of any artifacts or distortion or aberrations and all that sort of stuff. Like, unbelievably clean. Yeah, is 100mm really a big jump from 90mm? No, not at all. Yeah. Secondhand 91 runs around 500 quid. Great portrait lens though. So you use yours for portraits. You can get it for 500 quid. I expect that price to come down soon, right? As these come out. Yeah. Is that 500 quid secondhand for a 10-year-old lens? Am I understanding you correctly? This came out 10 years ago. It arrived a decade after the 90mm, and that's still 500 quid. Yeah. Well, pricey, man, pricey. Yeah. Okay, I had an email today from CreativeLive, and I'm sure we have some mature ladies and gents in the chat here who remember CreativeLive from back in the day, and sadly they are closing their doors. So, important update, CreativeLive will close on December 31st. So thank you for being a CreativeLive student. After years of creativity and learning, CreativeLive will shut down on December 31st, 2025. The classes you have purchased can be downloaded to your computer, allowing you to access them after our closure. You have until the end of the year to download. Purchasing and downloading additional eligible classes. Yeah, okay. So it's crazy, man. End of an era. End of an era. This is like CreativeLive was there at kind of like the dawn of the digital photography revolution. Kind of crazy, man. Yeah. Kind of crazy. The reason I'm bringing up this article is because Petapixel did a little bit of a dive into it. Talking about it. It's actually a pretty good article in terms of nostalgia and how it's changed over the years and that sort of thing. But CreativeLive struggled, right? I mean, it struggled, and at one point you reached out to me, I think, or whatever it was, and the cut that they wanted was from me as the creator. Like the cut that they wanted from me was excessive, like very large, and they also wanted a cut of any external sales of other products. So at the time when I was selling my color gels, right? I mean, I was selling tons of those bloody things, and if I was to work with them, they would basically take a cut of the colored gels, right? Price it, like how they were going to work out which gels were bought through them and which gels were just bought externally. And look, a lot of educators at the time would have had books out or other videos or I don't know, courses, right? You guys know the spiel, and they wanted to take a severe cut of those sales as well. So at the time, it was like they were reaching out to people who could have been outstanding for the platform, but I know several people obviously turned them down because their cut was deemed pretty damn greedy at the time. Now from there they went on to kind of offer like live courses of all sorts. I think it was like cooking and learn to play the drums and knitting and all that sort of stuff, right? So they just branched out, and like the premise was kind of solid, but you just couldn't quite make it stick. So founded by Chase Jarvis, if you guys remember him, award-winning photographer, highly influential, mid-2000s. CreativeLive was designed as an online education platform with a mix of paid and free content. So like the paid and free content was kind of revolutionary at the time, because if you tuned in live when the content was being delivered, it was free, right? If you missed the live, then you had to buy it afterwards. So like it was a very clever business model at the time, because you tune in live and you kind of get wrapped up in it, and like you end up buying the course anyway, right? Because so you can watch it later. So like it was a good business model, yeah. It was clever at the time. Some of the biggest names in photography then and now have either been featured at CreativeLive or got their start there. While the platform gained popularity thanks to its lessons to photography, it branched out over the years. That's what I was talking about, right? So video, business, marketing, that sort of stuff, right? So Jarvis supported CreativeLive through outside investors and saw a $7.5 million Series A round, followed by a $21.5 Series B round. And I remember years ago thinking carefully about what I say. It was a lot of money moving around back in the day with this, man. It was kind of crazy, yeah. So the article goes on. He became CEO of the company in April 2014, and he told the New York Times, "What we're trying to do is create the most vibrant learning experience we can." So, if I recall, like it was flying, right? Chase Chase was at the helm. It was flying. It was doing really well. Like anybody who even remotely owned a camera, knew about CreativeLive and was either, checking out, the live streams or picking up, the tutorial, videos afterwards and that sort of stuff. It was flying. It was flying. And then, like I said, if I remember correctly, Chase stepped away. It's like, look, this is too big to fail, right? This is flying. I'm gonna step away and look at other things and whatever. I don't know what he did. What he could have just taken a holiday for all I know. And he stepped away for a good chunk of time, and it just nosedived to the point where he had to kind of come back and try and nurse it, but it kind of never really recovered. So it goes on here. The Seattle-based company was acquired by Fiverr in 2021 as part of what the parent company described as a broader strategy to expand its offerings outside the marketplace for gig workers. It combined its in-house solution, Fiverr, Learn, and CreativeLive. So, you guys know what Fiverr is and that sort of stuff. Again, kind of all online education. After the acquisition in 2022, expanded its library of online courses through the purchase of Wildest.co. I didn't know that. I don't know what that is. A platform for workshops on wildlife photography that included everything from drone photography to working with brands. Okay. Yeah. So the reason I'm kind of bringing this up is because Chase Jarvis actually jumped in here in the comments, right, to kind of add or correct or whatever. So he goes, "Hey all, thought I would chime in here from a flight." I mean, the guy is a consummate businessman. Like, is there any need to tell us you're on a flight, Chase? It's just like, it's all about image, man. I just saw the news as well. Sad to see it go, but it was shortly after the acquisition in 2021 that Fiverr chose not to put the resources behind the platform that was required to make it thrive. And in fairness to Chase, what he's saying here is that, I mean, like, they dumped nearly 30 million into it years previous, right? And as you know, so many of the digital counterparts are practically running at a loss. When you actually look at how much money YouTube makes or Instagram makes and that sort of stuff, it's all about a very long-term gain. This is why I left the company in 2022. So he's saying here, look, I, like the article states that I was the CEO, but please correct that. The decision could be seen as understandable given the headwinds with their stock and stock market for nearly all two-sided labor marketplaces have been experiencing. When we agreed to be acquired by them, the plans were quite grand, and yet it clearly didn't pan out. And as a few of you note in the comments, the writing was indeed on the wall. And look, the quality of CreativeLive went nosedived dramatically, and that happened, in my opinion, a long time ago. And look, I'm not saying that I know best or anything like that, but it was certainly a case of many very, very talented creators were being kind of offered pretty stingy deals, right? And in my opinion, especially when I was looking at the the other deals that I'd taken at the time with Pro EDU and and that sort of thing, right? So and then if you're not getting quality content on there, then people are not going to watch it and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a tough balance, very, very tough balance. It's worth mentioning that I did reach out to Fiverr last year and offered to purchase the company back. My outreach was ignored by the CEO and the CFO. It seems that they had extracted all the value they wanted, engagement for a number of years, and large customer lists like emails, right? I mean, you're essentially buying an email list at that point. And to shutter the entire catalog, definitely sad given how much great content was in the catalog. Yeah. So, it's interesting, his additional notes there. And yeah, look, I'm sure he's right. I'm sure that Fiverr were like, look, we've got the... We've accumulated the list of customers. We still have, Fiverr still has their own platform. Like, why are we trying to run both? Let's try and bring people over here, as it were. So, I would presume that Chase is reading that correctly. Yeah. So Alan says, I sometimes use my 100mm for portraits, although sometimes eye recognition's not always working. Is that a macro? That I mean, I use my 105 for portraits. I absolutely love that thing. Yeah, it's gorgeous headshots. Yeah, I mean, just the drop off on the 105 is sensational. Like you do need a big space to make the most of it. Yeah. CreativeLive made great tutorials. They did send, they did back in the day. Like Lindsay Adler had some absolute bangers on there, right? You had Lara Jade, you had some big hitters in there back in the day, and then it kind of all kind of I mean, there is my brain and names is terrible, but trust me, there's some phenomenal content on there in the early years for sure. Outstanding, yeah. Brooke Shaden, another one, gorgeous work that she was doing on there as well. Nobody's watching tutorials this long nowadays. Vlad, you know what? I think it's sad, right? I mean, just talking from personal experience, my original gel lighting tutorial that I did with ProEDU, I don't know when that was. I don't know. Could be 10 years ago now. Coming up to maybe it was 2017, maybe something like that. And that thing was 22 hours long, right? And it was $300 at the time, 300 quid at the time, if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe it was a bit more than that, 350. And look, that was, in my opinion, that was the peak, right? We sold so many of that damn thing, man. It was crazy. Yeah, we sold so many of that tutorial, and there are still people like that I meet today. Just randomly, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I bought that." And it's just like, really, like, do you even take pictures? It's just like so many people bought that. It was crazy. I think, talking about figures now after the years have gone by, but it paid for itself within the first hour, right, in terms of sales, right? So just to give you some idea of the margins that were there back in the day on these tutorials. But like Vlad says, like, the people didn't want to kind of invest their time into those long form tutorials anymore. One of the things that I really kind of loved about those long form tutorials is that you saw me working through a problem, right? So don't get me wrong, it's not just like one cut from start to end, but they did include me working through the problem on set, right? So I think one of them, I did like a bunch of location shoots as well, and you see me working through the problem. You don't just see me setting up the light and turning it to, just make sure you set this to 5, and it's 3.5 feet from the subject. Like you see me working through the problem, and making adjustments and changes, and me kind of describing why I'm making those changes and adjustments. Nobody shows that anymore, like, literally, right? It's just like, here's how you do it, here's the lighting diagram, off you go. And look, that's fine, I get it, but for me, there's so much value in seeing the mistakes, right? So much value in seeing somebody like trying to understand what they're trying to achieve, right? There's nothing wrong with copying people. There really isn't. But I think it's, because you can learn a ton by doing that. But I think having the ability to see somebody who has an idea in their mind about what they want to achieve going into a project, right? Seeing them kind of trying to get their idea in their head onto the camera in real time. I think there's a lot of value in that. And I remember actually thinking back to it now. We arrived on set, and I think I'd seen it. I think I'd seen it for like 10 minutes before. I think on the day that I arrived, they kind of buzzed me around to like 3 or 4 different locations, and they were like, look, where do you want to shoot, and that sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, this place looked cool. Like, I managed to grab just like a handful of shots on my X100 or whatever, and like that was it. And then the next time I was there, they were shooting me working through that problem, right? So I remember, like, so you guys are just going to start rolling straight away? Like, yeah, we want to see this. Like, we want to see this process. That's what people are paying for. Like, and it's true, right? It's true. And it was stressful at the time, but it was a great video, man. Yeah, it was a great video. Yeah. But like Vlad said, like that long form of content is not what people are prepared to kind of pay for now. Yeah. I thought LinkedIn bought them over. Apparently not. Yeah, apparently not. Fiverr did, unless LinkedIn is the overarching company of that. Yeah. Most just watch YouTube shorter video, audio Patreons. They like a photographer. That's right, Alan. Yeah, it is a different it is a different era now. It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on YouTube, university trained photographer. I'm a university trained photographer. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. It really isn't. It really isn't. I just think that there are several downsides to it, and I will finish what Chase has said there in a second. Yeah. The money is in the list vibe. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Sue Bryce posting stuff was excellent. Oh, that's right, Sue Bryce. Yeah, they had. And look, let's not forget how much CreativeLive did for female photographers back in the day, because it was such a male-dominated market for forever, right? I know it still is, but CreativeLive had, like I said, I mean, you had Lindsay Adler, just phenomenal, Lara Jade, outstanding, Brooke Shaden, like Sean said there, Sue Bryce, like they were absolute powerhouses back in the day, and they were kind of dominating. But and look, let's be honest, they kind of put a little bit of flair into what was historically fairly stagnant, right? Yeah. Didn't cost me anything. Sorry, Jake. What do you mean, Jamie? Did you steal it? Did you steal a copy from? Did you pirate it? I bought the course, a watch half. That's it, Darius. Yeah, that was it. And look, I think people picked and choose what they want. And look, when I say it was 22 hours, like a lot of that was me retouching all the images at the end as well. So like the content was there, and you could kind of move around it as you saw fit. Yeah. Back in the day when it had infinite amount of YouTube. Exactly, Vlad. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so easy to kind of target what you want to find now. Because there's just so many niche things, like whatever you can think of. There's some 14-year-old has made a video on YouTube about it. Yeah, you probably do. Of course, we also bought them all. They were good, man. Yeah, they were ton of fun to make. Yeah, really good times back then. And that was when sound like an old fogey, but the industry was flying back then. Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah. But Leisure Jewel still got it on my memory stick on Smart TV. Nice. Yeah. Sin, I moved away from tutorials when they started trying to sell them as subscriptions. Sin, look, I'm with you, man, and that's what happened with ProEDU, and they kind of died a death because they went down the subscription model. And look, a little bit of behind the scenes baseball here. It was like there was a huge amount of pushback. There was a huge amount of pushback from all the instructors. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who wasn't pushing back on it, because the subscription model was absolutely the death of it. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Nobody wants to learn from someone anymore. They want to learn with someone. A lot of people don't practice what they watch. They just want to learn with someone. So personal coaching or in-person workshop. Yeah. We'll have to chat about that in a second, Sam. Yeah. You did pirate. That's before I joined on here. I think I learned live streams. You should feel fucking bad, Jamie. You absolute scumbag. that's you owe me. You owe me at least 15 quid or whatever I got for each of them. No, I'm exaggerating. I got more than that. But wow, man, that's crazy. Stealing from a fellow creative. That's wild, man. That's low. Like steal from, Google all you want, but fellow creatives. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. So let's have a look at what Chase goes on to say here. So one parting note about the online education that I've learned from living in those trenches since we pioneered the category almost two decades ago. And it's kind of weird to hear Chase say that, but like really he was, when he says pioneering that category, and it kind of was. It was brand new at the time. And the idea that you could kind of watch people work live like this, like industry professionals live, was mind-blowing at the time. Yeah, it is possible to be successful, but it is not possible without being a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar company. Ironically, the economics don't work at that scale, but they do work at the smaller niche, and as I would encourage the continued creation of learning materials. With a cautionary note that it needs a near constant innovation, reinvention to stay relevant. There is still room for readers of this article to take the reins and create great learning experiences for the community on your own. Thanks to those of you who have participated in the journey for the decade plus long run and all the transformation we created together as a community. Yeah, end of an era, man. Yeah, absolutely. Fair play to him. I mean, Chase Jarvis was all over the internet back in the day, and there was just doing interviews left, right, and center. And he was really dominating. And he even said once that he pioneered the idea of an app on your phone that you could take a picture with your phone and instantly share it online. And he said that he practically wakes up fucking screaming at night because that's what Instagram became. That was his original idea that he kind of never kind of managed to kind of put the pegs in the right holes, as it were, and then Instagram came along and just absolutely ran rampant with it. Yeah. So yeah, he's certainly done a huge amount over the years. I wouldn't want that stress, because he looks like he's aged a few years. Bless him. I think he went through immense stress with CreativeLive in the final years that he was there. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yeah. Oh, you bought the gels. All right, mate. All right. Okay. I'll allow it. Thank you for buying the gels. He owes you a pile of dough. He does sin. He does. Yeah. Vlad, you stole it as well. That is crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, I'm not going to say anything more. Yeah. Sean, you're the real one, not like these fakes here, man, stealing from other creatives. That's wild. That's why you think you know people, and then they betray you like that. It's a different generation, Sean. These younger people, they just don't see the value in it like you and I do, You sent me a copy. You did, James. Oh, you did, James. You did send me your book. You did. Only because you felt guilty for all the lighting setups. But no, you did. So look, most of us here, I think, had some passing interaction with CreativeLive over the years, and phenomenal. Kind of wild to see it go, but I think all of us knew that the writing was on the wall with this one, but still, yeah, end of an era indeed. And interesting to hear Chase talk about this, because look, Chase has been through the ringer with this, obviously, and him talking about it's possible to be successful, but it's not possible basically trying to do it in $1 million company. So as much as he thinks CreativeLive had the the content there, it's just not, it just wasn't scalable, right? But they do work at a smaller niche, and I would encourage continued creation of learning materials with the cautionary note that it needs to be constant innovation, reinvention to stay relevant. And this is the thing, right? And then years ago when I was pre-COVID, when I was writing the courses and the workshops, it was I would write a new course or whatever it was at least once a year. I think at one point I was doing 2 a year, and people were like, how are you doing that? It's not, you can't just keep coming up with new ideas. Like, that is the job, right? And look, I get it. It is kind of weird for non-creatives to get their head around that, but that is the job, is to come up with new ideas. And look, I'll just speak frankly here. I think many new people coming into the industry today kind of forget that it is their job to come up with new ideas. It's not your job to go on the internet and Google, Pinterest colored lighting ideas and then replicate that for a client. Like, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that the foundation of being a creative is to come up with new ideas and start getting your brain into that mindset of, how can I develop this idea? Like, start off by doing that for sure, but then go off on a different tangent. And look, I can bring up tons of people who, purchased my gel lighting tutorial, and then went on to develop their own style, whether it be equestrian horses, gel lighting on horses and that sort of stuff. There's a guy that kind of reinvented this kind of 1980s film look with it. Like, there's so many ways that you can take the foundational knowledge, and kind of create these new ideas, and sadly, like, it's just kind of less and less of that. It's the, how can I make like a 30-second video on something quirky. So yeah, I think I think Chase is on the money here when he says that it needs to be near constant innovation and reinvention to stay relevant. And it's true, and that is the job. Yeah. I pirated the gels, yeah. I pirated some of the CreativeLive stuff back in the day as well. I mean, okay, I guess. I mean, wasn't it free to watch? Like, yeah. When it was discounted, seeing it was always discounted. I'll allow that. Yeah, it was always discounted. Yeah. I borrowed the gels. Yeah. I may have got a pile of CreativeLive ones via the Captain Jack Sparrow website. It's nice. Jesus Christ. Using LimeWire download photography videos gave my laptop the clap so much it turned into an applause. Damn. Nice, mate. Nice. It's like me having to come up with articles, ideas every month for it. That's it. I mean, like, Technique Tuesday was the same, right? Technique Tuesday passed its 10-year anniversary. Like, this year, I think I've been writing those Technique Tuesdays for 10 years, and it is the pressure that comes with that. And it's kind of not sustainable. It is the job, but it is kind of not sustainable. And I'll tell you why that's evolved. Like, the quality of my work and the quality of all of your work, the quality of anybody's, any artist or creative work, the quality is always going to go up, right? So back in the day, you may have spent 15 minutes retouching an image. Fast forward 10 years, you may be spending 45 minutes retouching an image, right? But it doesn't matter how many new pieces of kit that comes out to kind of aid you along the way. You are getting better, and you're gaining more experience, you're getting more knowledge, you're getting all these new ways to kind of improve your work, right? And 10 years ago, a Technique Tuesday article was like, I don't know, like a page, 300 words or something, and a few images and a lighting diagram practically sketched out on the back of a fag packet, right? That was the OG Technique Tuesdays. And now they're like, some of them are like 5,000, 8,000 words with, three shoots, tons of BTS and links, and buy this here and all that sort of stuff. Like, the quality of them has just grown. So that's just a natural growth that happens when you do anything for a long period of time. But it's very difficult to sustain that. And like, I was doing Technique Tuesdays every single Tuesday, but in the last maybe year or so, it's just not been possible. I think it's, do I do like a super high quality article like once a month, and then repost some of my older stuff a couple of times here and there? It's, yeah, but that is the job. You're forced into this position of like, I have to reinvent the wheel. And as soon as you get into that mindset, that's when you start coming up with new ideas. I think it's easy just to go, it's too difficult, everything's been done before. It's not a great mindset to be in. I think if you believe that everything's been done before, it's not healthy for you as a creative. I think you really have to believe that you can do something different, and then it's only once you get there that you can start producing truly, new and original work, because it's yours, right? But I think if you set out on this career path thinking that everything's been done before, I think you're in for a boring ride, personally. Yeah. I'm an accountant by profession. My creative brain only works about 40% of the time. I mean, I can't turn it on and off, I can assure you. Yeah, it's it comes, I'll have an idea in the shower, walking the dog, watching a movie or whatever. It's not something that I can turn off. Yeah. Emulate Pinterest inspo with my own twist, hopefully. There's nothing wrong with that, Trevor. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think evolving an idea is what any of us really do at this point, right? So yeah, absolutely fine to get inspiration. And a lot of time that's how clients work, right? You know, I'm working with a client at the moment, and they sent me a Pinterest mood board. You know, it's my job to kind of take those ideas and you know, and kind of evolve them into something new, right? But less time editing now than I did back in the day, to be honest. Oh, that's good. I mean, like, your style is pretty locked down now, Vlad. Yeah. An ebook almost, and it is, Sean, right? It is like, yeah, some of these, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing it. Yeah, some of the more arty-farty articles I absolutely love writing, but yeah, they definitely take time. Yeah. So I could just get Chat GPT to write my articles next time, because everybody else has given in. This one as well, Tilly Norwood, an AI actress seeking Hollywood representation. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It feels like this is kind of like a cash grab in terms of publicity stunt, right? This girl isn't real. It's just some AI girl, and she's been doing, you know, segments on things. Again, this is not a real girl, but, you know, she's being hired to do segments on, I don't know what, I haven't even bothered watching that, but essentially she'll present something or something like that, right? And she's being farmed out to do that. It's a fascinating idea, right? Because this is only possible if she has this kind of name, right? And this power and this because we we give this name and power to random strangers in Hollywood already, right? So kind of, why is this any different? And if they can build up this character enough by dumping a ton of money into advertising and promotion, and, you know, these hit pieces that we got here, then yeah, like, that's, you give her a name, like you give her that presence. Wild time indeed. Yeah. Following on from that, this is something that I've encountered recently, where this model was commenting on my Instagram, and, you know, I responded, and, you know, then she responded and that sort of stuff, and I was like, okay, you know, profile picture looks nice and that sort of thing. Took a look, and I'm just like, this whole model is AI, right? Now, I don't know that. It doesn't really say anywhere. But like, you know, this whole profile is manufactured, right? Similar sort of thing. And I was chatting to Steve about this, and, you know, Steve had a look as well. I asked what he thought, and basically he had a look and was going, look, there is moles in certain areas that aren't in other areas and that sort of stuff. So, like, the moles aren't in exactly the same place each time. She's got a belly piercing here, but she doesn't here. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, it's, you know, it's the wild west out here. Now, my kind of intrigue with this is, like, why bother? Like, why bother making an AI model like this, when, if you want to just trick money out of old men, I mean, you could just make an OnlyFans account, right? Which is what other people are already doing with, you know, your fake girl, and crack on with it. So unless it really is, if you need a model for a photo shoot, like, you need this, whatever we're calling this, to present the news for you, if you need a model to, you know, model your latest hotel or whatever, then I guess she's for hire. So is it trying to scam people out of money, or is it legit like this, with regards to trying to sell your character as somebody who can hold your product and all that sort of crap? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. What's obviously disgusting about this is that they're not saying it anywhere. Yeah. You say weird hands in some of them, Sean, but, like, I do know what you mean. But I've certainly seen far worse from real photographers. Yeah. AI actors should be a no-go. Same reason I don't use self-checkout. Employ the people. It's a good point, Trevor. That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Look. You know, it's. I think it's a slippery slope, man. It's a slippery slope. Like, why we just watching a bot tell us something? It just seems weird to me. Like, what difference does it make, Jake? She's given you the information. You've clicked on a video to access some data. She's delivering it to you. What's the difference? Like, I mean, difference is like, where are we going with this? You know, same with this, right? You got, you know, some girl selling your handbag. It just seems weird, right? It just seems wrong. But, you know, just old, I guess. Yeah. Effigy is a real giveaway. What do you mean effigy? You mean like this thing here? Is that what you mean? What do you mean? Or did you see something? Anyway, I'm absolutely convinced that that's an AI model, and you can't tell me otherwise, even though there is no mention of it anywhere. But yeah, look, you know, keep an eye on it. You know, I'm, you know, models, girls, you know, pretending to be models, or bots pretending to be models, and all that sort of stuff. Just keep an eye on it. Yeah. Oh, her name. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look at this one. So this is what Jamie sent me. Obviously, you got any questions or queries about anything else that I've mentioned here? If you want any links for anything, then let me know.
All right, this is something really cool I've been working on with a couple of friends for almost 2 years now. It's taken a lot of conversations, meetings, and work building this idea to get it to this point, which is a program called LensNode. All right, so what is it? So LensNode is a plugin that goes into DaVinci Resolve, and it simulates the look and characteristics of all of these lenses that we've profiled, plus whatever mix and match lenses you want to make. And it's not just a LUT or a power grade or a DCTL, it's a custom coded program. And what's been done to get these lens looks is hours and days spent capturing all of the lens characteristics, everything from distortion, chromatic aberration, bokeh blur, fringing, coma, everything that a lens has. We've captured that data and then put it into this program.
So we don't need to watch all of it, but yeah. So essentially, what they're doing there, it's really interesting to see how they're kind of tracking that and using these cinema lenses. Now, this is DaVinci Resolve only, right? So video. I think Jamie mentioned to me that they were kind of entertaining the idea of maybe being able to bring something to Photoshop and that sort of thing. But yeah, in theory, you know, them kind of monitoring all these kind of things here with a lens, right? So you can go, okay, so it stretches out at the corner at this range and at this focal length. You know, these poor souls have kind of translated all that back into data that you can then get it to then apply to the visual image from a different camera and that sort of thing, right? But it is kind of interesting to see how they did it, and you know, like even the dots and that sort of thing. So they're looking at the bokeh and the bloom of certain things, and you know, they've managed to develop this program that is able to replicate that. So look, you know, it's very, very, very cool. Again, DaVinci Resolve. So like, it's not really relevant to us, but I certainly appreciate Jamie sending it over, because you know, I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I need to see it myself, but it looked kind of wild, man. Yeah. So, you know, the chromatic aberration and distortions and that sort of stuff, like, it looks good, man. It does look good. Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, the argument is always just shoot it on the lens, but some of these lenses, especially older lenses, it's just not, you know, it's just not possible anymore. Either there's just not enough around, you know, there's just not enough of them. some of them can be extremely expensive, right? The old Panavision ones that so many people love, you know, and you can look at the bloom here. That bloom looks good, man. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on with this. Yeah. So, like I said, let's have a look. So, prices wise, so simplified UI, so $50, fewer parameters. Okay, 50 bucks a year. Subscription, $100. All the parameters for cutting edge lens simulation. So, I mean, yeah, you know, if you're going to do it, you're probably going to do it for this, and then $249 for a permanent purchase. So look, you know, I think they've. I personally think they've been fairly okay with the pricing on that. In all honesty, because we all know how much people pay in the cinema world. I think that's very fair. $250, pay once, you got it forever. 35 plus lens profiles that they've worked on. I guarantee that is a ton of work. Yeah, it is not subscription only. The permanent lenses license will work forever and includes all future updates. So look, you know, fair play. I think they've been, you know, I think they've been pretty fair with it. Yeah, and looks good. So yeah, thank you, Jamie, for passing it over. Yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah. To be honest, it's weird to me that all the photos have the same editing style and light. So this is, I was kind of chatting to Steve about this, and I was kind of so Vlad's talking about these, and yeah, like it's they all look like Sony images to me, right? I'm just going to say it. And look, this kind of style that AI is getting image quality from is coming from somewhere, right? And I think Sony has been so ubiquitous in the industry for so long now that that's what it's replicating. It's replicating this very kind of clinical look. Now, you could obviously in the prompts go 85mm prime, you know, Panavision, whatever, and it would kind of give you some variation there. But I agree with Vlad, like it absolutely, they all just look like exactly the same. And sure, they could have been all shot by the same photographer, but so many images on Instagram today look this kind of clinical to me, right? So I'm not gonna wail on that anymore, but you know, yeah, I think a lot of images do look like that now. I commented on the video and I asked if there's any possibility of Photoshop plugin and looking into it. Yeah, so I don't know, because this is a standalone thing, is it? No, it's not. It has to be used within DaVinci. Okay, so I wonder if they could make it standalone, right? Because I mean, I would presume that they've done the hard work by translating all that lens data into code to some degree, right? So I wonder if they could make it a standalone product that would work on stills, right? And it's very different for it to be working on video, but if they were going, okay, just working on stills, we could absolutely bring in a single file and then apply X code. I wonder if they would do it as a standalone piece rather than a Photoshop plugin, which may be more trouble than it's worth. Plus, Adobe takes a chunk, or can do, if you're selling it on the store. Yeah. You can put those photos inside the DaVinci and export them afterwards. I've seen a few people edit exclusively in DaVinci, and it has awesome, looks like false color. Okay, good shout. So what that is saying there, and I have heard this before, but he's saying that DaVinci Resolve, which is typically a video editing software, you can bring images into DaVinci and then export them after you've done, you know, your kind of changes. So in theory, you could apply this to your still image, in theory, in DaVinci and then export it. Is DaVinci free? Right? Is that the free one, guys? It is, right? DaVinci is free to use. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know one of them is. Yeah. So thank you for reminding me of that, Vlad. Yeah, because I had actually forgotten that. That could be. I mean, especially when you consider DaVinci's free. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I just got a couple of shorts here I was going to share. This one was pretty cool. We don't need to look at that previous one. This one was pretty cool. I've seen this done before. I need to get this software and start playing with it, but very, very cool. I think there's a free software of this that is kind of bare bones, but I've always kind of looked into making this or doing this, but it has a lot of potential for sure. Yeah, DaVinci has a free version, but has a paid tier and more transitions and features. But I guess you could get the free DaVinci with this plugin. That'd be my guess, Vlad. Yeah, unless you wanted to do anything extra to it. But yeah, I think for still shooters that would be something you could work with for sure. Yeah. I just want to show you this. So this may seem weird, but this was a major thing like 10, 15 years ago when Asian girls were releasing these makeup tutorials, and it was wild. It was absolutely wild. And I was kind of looking for one again to kind of show you guys, not because I'm thinking of becoming a makeup artist, but because of like what she's doing here with the dodging and burning on her face is nuts. It's crazy, right? And then we look at the final result, and what she's able to do with just makeup alone is crazy. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because years ago, when Photoshop retouching was kind of at its peak, and it kind of went too far, when everybody had plastic skin and all that sort of stuff, when like the Photoshop retouching just got out of hand, and people were kind of commenting on we need to see the raw, like there's no point in you showing us the finished image. We need to see the raw and that sort of thing. And I wasn't doing plastic skin or anything like that, but my kind of argument at the time was, so like how far back do we go? Do I need to show you what the model looked like without makeup on? Because I don't think you realize how impressive a good makeup artist is. I don't think you realize how phenomenal a great makeup artist is on a photo shoot. And people, spending tons of time retouching, is it worth just hiring a makeup artist for however much, 75 quid for a bit or something like that, and just get them to do outstanding makeup? And then you really have to do very little retouch. And that's the truth. That is the truth. And because at the time people were commenting going, oh, this is too retouched, I'll show you the back of the camera. Like it's like she has phenomenal skin and an outstanding makeup artist. So it's crazy what can be done kind of in camera, if you like, right? And what this girl is doing is phenomenal. And there's scores of these out there. Yeah. I mean, she had, because she's kind of explaining it as well, like, and the knowledge that she has in terms of the face structure and what she's looking for with the dodge and burn and the sculpting and the shaping of the lips and all that sort of stuff is nuts. Yeah. Before, yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy, right? So yeah, don't always be too quick to think that it's all done in post pro, because like there are some phenomenal makeup artists out there. Yeah. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but again, the AI thing. So this is, those of you may remember incredible photographer Nick Knight. Now he's working with this guy who's doing the AI. So we're starting to see this collaborative process now, where this is an AI image, but supposedly, you know, crafted alongside Nick Knight, as it were, to create them. I guess even more confusing here, half shot by Nick Knight at Show Studio, and the other half created with Simon, which is AI, right? So, okay, which half? Like, you know, which bit is shot and which bit isn't? You know, it's kind of a weird time indeed. Very odd. Yeah. Well, anyway, here's what it is. It's definitely here to stay. Nothing that's going to change with that. But I suppose the more informed we are with it, you know, the easier it's going to be for us to spot, right? Okay. So anybody got any questions on anything we covered there? Any links or anything like that? I can certainly pass them over. Yeah. All right. So, as many of you know, I've got a new lighting course coming out the next couple of weeks called Color 2.0. And it's been a long time coming of me writing that for numerous reasons, but and I'll kind of go over them in a second. But yeah, this is my brand new course. I'm just going to bring up the video of it here. Some of you have already seen it. So yeah, apologies for that, but yeah, we're just gonna watch this. I'll turn. It's like 4 minutes long or something like that. So I'm just gonna turn this off. Hey guys, Hicks here. If you found your way here, then it's more than likely you've got a passing interest in coloured lighting. And look, I get it. I've been shooting for over 20 years, and most of that has been dedicated to understanding and working with coloured light in one form or another, whether that be with coloured gels or more recently with RGB lighting. I think one of the most enticing things about coloured light is that it's so easy to get into. You just need a couple of lights, some coloured gels, and you can just kind of start playing with it. I think that for many of us, though, it quickly becomes apparent that it's a little bit harder than it initially looks. And there are many reasons for this. Washed out colours, colour banding, colours not working together, weird colours when we do mix, what colours do go together, and that's not to mention the colour theory that we should be applying to all of our coloured light shots as well. Throughout all the years of me playing with coloured light, there's one thing that has always been very apparent to me, and that is that there is always somehow something new to learn when it comes to coloured lighting. And look, all this nuance and depth that is within coloured lighting is what's encouraged me to push out so many workshops and educational pieces surrounding coloured light over the years. And they've kind of all culminated in this latest course of mine, in my Color 2.0 course. And look, I've spent many years writing this, mainly because I had to start rewriting it halfway through once I started to play with LED lighting. I think RGB LED lighting has opened up this just entire new world when it comes to coloured light. We now have millions of colours instead of a handful of colours, and I think that with our ability to kind of see the image unfold as we start shooting it has enabled us to perhaps take a few more risks with coloured light and also start playing with some more creative ideas. My new Color 2.0 workshop is definitely my most in-depth workshop to date, and I think that although you don't need to have attended any of my previous courses on coloured light, I think this Color 2.0 course does build upon a lot of the foundational elements that you would have picked up from those. With the introduction of LED RGB lighting, we are able to get extremely creative now and start playing with a lot of colours and also a lot of different types of lights and modifiers. You know, I'll be using tubes as well as mixing long exposure and kind of adding colourful elements in the background that previously wouldn't have been possible with just regular flash in the past. So if you're new to coloured lighting and you just wanted to see what was possible with these new RGB LED lights that we have access to today, then this course is really going to be an in-depth look at that. And as we're going to get very creative with not only LEDs that can flash, but also different shapes and forms of LEDs as well. That said, if you're fairly comfortable with coloured lighting and you wanted to kind of take your experience and knowledge just one step further, then I think this course has also got a lot in there for you. As many of the techniques that I go over can be a little bit more advanced for some, especially when we start mixing ambient light with flash and long exposure in there as well. So I do think this course has something for everybody. Another aspect of this Color 2.0 course that's unique is that it'll be the first of my courses where I discuss both LEDs and flash alongside one another. So in the PDF of notes and the setups, I'll be explaining both flash and LED setups for everything that I cover. So this Color 2.0 course has been a long time coming. I've certainly spent a long time writing it and prepping it to get it into a place where I'm really happy with where it's landed. And I think there's a ton of really exciting and new lighting setups in here, no matter what skill level you're at. And I really think that some of the techniques that we'll be covering in this are kind of brand new, totally brand new, and they really open up a lot of creative possibilities that I haven't even played with myself fully yet. So yeah, I'm really excited with sharing this with everybody, and as always, I'm really looking forward to kind of empowering you guys with the knowledge to be able to take the instructions taught here and go away and shoot all these setups yourselves. So I hope this new Color 2.0 course sounds exciting to you. And if you have any questions or queries at all, then don't hesitate to reach out to me either on my site or via my socials. And there's going to be a ton more information about the course on my website as well, so be sure to check that out. And as always, I look forward to seeing some old and new faces at the new Color 2.0 course very soon. See you there. So, I know some of you already seen that before, but I kind of wanted to just bring it up there just to give some context about what I'm going to be talking about now, just in terms of...
How do I climb this bitch?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can close that. At least he wasn't swearing too aggressively. So yeah, so I think, this is absolutely, like I mentioned in the kind of intro there, or the trailer there, this is absolutely my most in-depth course, and this kind of leads on to what I was chatting about with Sean earlier on. Let's put the camera back on. Talking with Sean earlier on about our skills and our knowledge just keep escalating, right, and evolving, and this is another example of that. And I mentioned in there how long it's taken me to write this, and one of the reasons for that is LEDs. Right, I know you guys have heard me speak a lot about LEDs in the last 12-18 months specifically, but I do think that they are kind of revolutionizing the way that we can capture light and color. And one of the things I kind of want to talk about here today is we'll kind of dig into the PDF of notes here a little bit and have a look at one of the chapters from the PDF that comes with the course. But there's one of the topics I want to kind of look at here today is kind of the differences between flash and LEDs. What do we need to know? Why is it relevant? Is it all pros? Is there is there a mix? Is it one size fits all, or is it going to be different for everybody? Right. So look, if you're interested, check out the course. I think we've got at least 2 spots left. October 25th. I know we've already got somebody coming over from the US, which is cool. We've already got a couple of ladies have already signed up as well, which is fantastic. We were talking about that a minute ago with CreativeLive, and and what they were doing earlier on with female photographers and that sort of thing. So it's great to see some ladies signing up. Like I said, we got somebody flying over from the US. Was going to be somebody from Switzerland, but I'm now doing a one-to-one with them this Saturday for this course as well, so that'd be even better. So that'd be cool. But yeah, we've still got a couple of spots left. I do have a discount code for you guys here. I think it's JHP Live 50. So check that. I did input the code just before I went live, so if that doesn't work, then let me know and I will get you the code. But yeah, so that'll get you 50 quid off for any of you watching here. But yeah, so let's kind of have a chat about LED versus flash then. Let's see what we got here. Vlad, I was going to tell you that. So okay, so I was kind of just playing with it at the time, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go with the Petzval. So that is the Petzval, which is manual focus, drop-in apertures. So I was really wary of, so I was like, this is what Vlad goes through trying to focus. Yeah, so very kind of difficult to kind of focus with that lens when I'm sat in front of it. But yeah, it was the Petzval. I've no idea what the aperture was. It could have been 2.8 or something like that. But yeah, all that kind of stuff that you see going on around it is not added in post. Yeah, that's all from that lens. I absolutely love that lens. It's a gorgeous lens. It's just a pain in the ass to work with, but yeah, I'm glad you picked up on it though. Look, I'm getting older. Nobody needs to see razor sharp focus of my face in 8K. So I was like, I think that Petzval lens is probably going to do it. Yeah, 50% off. Yeah. Let's have a look. You look a bit ginger in that video, Jake. I'll take that. I'll take that, Sin. Yeah. I mean, I'm grey, but so I'll certainly take the ginger. Yeah. Could have been worse. Yeah. Just making a sandwich. That's for the trailer. Yeah. This is Sean says, I grabbed a full tube set of the Godox TL60s, but I haven't had much time to play with them. They're great, Sean. They really are. It's just they're really great at one thing, right? So like you kind of need the right gig for it. Yeah, it's gonna be an online workshop as well. Or how does that work? Trevor's, is a great question. And I think this kind of leads into what we were talking about before with CreativeLive. And typically in the past, these do not become online workshops until a fair period of time after they've been in-person workshops, right? And mainly because people typically wanted to come to the in-person ones. But look, geography and location and that sort of thing has always been tricky. So I had a huge number of messages from people asking about the online version. So there is an online version. I've now added it. There is an online version, but it is a one-to-one video call with me where I go through this in a one-to-one setting. So it is a little bit cheaper than the in-person workshop, but for some people who don't want to fly over and that sort of thing, then this is kind of the next best thing. And obviously we'll go through the PDF of notes together, and we'll look at all the raws from the shoots using these setups, so you actually can see what the images are supposed to look like, what we're going for, and that sort of stuff, as well as all the presets and that sort of thing that comes with it. But yes, if you really can't make it in person and you're interested in the one-to-one version, then yeah, then it is there as an option. You're not ginger, Jamie. Are you? You completely bald, as far as I remember. Okay. So yeah. So what do these workshops kind of entail? And what's the kind of the process with these? Because look, a lot of people, maybe don't get to go out to these, as much as we used to. But usual premise: get there at 10 a.m. We kind of have a coffee or whatever. Have a little bit of a chat, meet and greet, and then we kind of dig into the actual theory behind the lighting course that I'm going over. So in this instance, the Color 2.0, and I would kind of go through a lot of the PDF at the start for the first hour, 90 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on questions and that sort of thing. And then we get stuck into the first shoot, maybe do the second shoot before lunch, but otherwise have lunch, which will be a full-on buffet lunch. Lunch looks amazing, and then in the afternoon we'll cover the remaining 3-4 lighting setups that we've got planned, right? And I haven't announced this yet, but the model confirmed this morning, we will have Chloe as our model. So Chloe confirmed this morning. So on October 25th, she will be joining us as the model, which is outstanding. Like, she's phenomenal. Phenomenal model. So yeah, very, 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 very fortunate to have her as the model on this first workshop, because workshops aren't for everybody in terms of not all models do workshops. So I'm very grateful that she's decided to be part of this one, because she is great for it, absolutely great for it. And like I said, I've already shot every single one of the setups with her. So so it'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good. And the setups that we got covered is ranging from this kind of more studio style. We're going to have this long exposure integration with flash and LED. This one is nuts. This one is just got so much potential. I've probably shot this 3 or 4 times. Clients have already asked me for this as well. But yeah, this has so much scope. So really looking forward to sharing this one, and then obviously we'll get stuck into some of the tube shots as well, which a lot of fun. Lot of fun. Yeah. Should probably wrap it up around 5, I should think. Yeah. Or you want to attend, but travel via public transport would be meant going to London and then travelling back out again 2.5 hours one way. Okay, just got your message. Jake, great timing. Nice nudge to join the live. Good to be back. I did send you something cool. Link, not really photography, but 3D hyperscapes. Better at doing. I'll have to have a look at those, Steve. Yeah. I can miss my ginger beard. It was savage, which probably explains why you didn't see the short mohawk. Yeah, nice. Yeah. I took a quick nap. There'll be a video course too, or is it in-person workshop? There's no there is no video. If you wanted to do it online, then it would be via a one-to-one online video call with me. I've already done a couple this week. I've got one next week as well. So again, the couple this week have been Americans that can't make it over. I know we've got one American flying over for the workshop, but not everybody has got the time to do that. And I'm doing another online one next week as well. So the option is there, and if you're interested in that, but it will not be a video. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look then at the PDF. I mentioned the PDF, and let's see what we got here. So, yeah, the PDF, I mean, all my courses come with very, very extensive notes, and it's not just a case of, a few lighting diagrams. It is typically, we can see the kind of the contents of everything that I'll be covering on the course is outlined here in the contents page. But a lot of my lighting courses come with a kind of theory or a premise, right? So famously, my Creatively Simple Lighting workshop had its hierarchy of light theory, which the whole thing was built on, and then subsequently pretty much all my lighting henceforth was then built on that hierarchy of light principle of how you can control and shape and layer different colored light. And this one is no different, really. It's just that the premise of this one is going to be how we understand LED lights and how we kind of control LED lights. What are some of the limitations and what are some of the benefits of that? So let's kind of come down here and let's just jump over, because in the course we'll be covering a lot to do with color and that sort of thing. Quality of light, what that means, what we're looking for, what we want to avoid. Mixed lighting, how to kind of avoid or work with mixed lighting, so we can cover over all of that as well. But the chapter I wanted to cover live on stream today is going to be flash versus LED, just having a little bit of a chat about what that means and what we can kind of use to our advantage. What knowledge can we gain from that? And look, most of you here are pretty experienced, and most of you know the difference, but obviously flash is like an instantaneous burst of light, and then LED is going to be more of that continuous light, right? And there is obvious pros and cons with both of those instantly, but yeah, and let's kind of talk about some of the obvious pros and cons here, or characteristics of each. So the flash is going to be, instant. Yeah, it's just a single burst. We've got the one fixed Kelvin. We've got huge, like very, very bright, right? I know many of us are just used to flash, but when you compare it to kind of any other light source, flash is extremely bright. Yeah, you can only really use it for stills. Only available as a white light, so it doesn't have any RGB values or anything like that. It's just going to be that one fixed white light. Limited kind of exposure and color variances. This is really only relevant for people shooting still life and focus stacking and bracketing and all that sort of stuff. You need to spend a lot of money on high quality flashes to get very minimal exposure and color variances between each flash firing, right? Model friendly exposure. So I've heard that some people struggle to sit in front of LED lights for long periods of time. So I suppose there's that to consider as well. Extremely versatile for lighting modifiers. This is kind of a big one, right? As we know, flash or like the S-Fit here, whatever flash you've got, I mean, Godox is S-Fit as well, but you can, thousands of different modifiers, soft boxes, strip boxes, beauty dishes, umbrellas, you name it, grids, spots, whatever you want, right? You can adapt this single point of light. Flashes suffer from localized hotspotting. So one of the downsides of flashes is all the power is coming from this single spot here, right? So it's all coming from a very small area. And you do need a certain amount of knowledge and skill to use flash. So coming on counter to that, then we have the LEDs, which is continuous, and that has a lot of benefits, especially when it comes to shooting film and video, right? One of the big things is adjustable Kelvin values. So this is more of a plus than I kind of realized, and I end up using like Kelvin values or changing the Kelvin values a lot, like a huge amount. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Let me just see if I can grab the. So like I did a shoot recently. So this is like recent, right? Of this, and this is all shot with LEDs. Now, with a shot like this is kind of this warmer sunset shot and that sort of stuff. Like the Kelvin on the LED key light here, was super warm, right? I managed to warm it up a lot so that it's kind of in keeping with the style of the shot, right? Counter that to this shot, completely different, right? So I've cooled the Kelvin down on this LED almost all the way, right? So it's very, very cold Kelvin on the key light here to kind of match the vibe of the final image here, right? And all of these shots had, this was probably more neutralized, about 5,500, something like that. Here we're looking at about something like 8,000, and down here we're definitely in the 3,500. Yeah. And warmed up here a lot as well. Yeah. So like these Kelvin ranges in LEDs is something that should not be overlooked, because it's something that I use way more than I thought I did, because I didn't have the option before with flash. Sure, you got your Kelvin gels and that sort of stuff, but having the ability to just instantly tweak, you don't even need to go, crank the lever one way or the other. You can really tweak the Kelvin in these to match the scene, and I do it way more than I thought I would with LEDs. Yeah. Only instructor grade 7 years. I mean, I try, Sam. Yeah. I mean, I think you do it long enough, you end up doing your own thing anyway, whether you like it or not. But yeah. You learn your lesson, and when videos, some members compare it to true. It's a good point. Yeah. It's gonna take off the team record. If I see you at the back with your phone out, Sam, that's it. Yeah. Do a workshop in the US. I know. Yeah. A couple of people did reach out about hosting me over there. So maybe it's maybe it's something that we can do in the future. Yeah. Yeah, because it's. I mean, I've done them in the past. There's a few changes going on with the politics at the moment that is kind of making it a pain, but it's definitely possible. Yeah. LED fatigue is something I talk about in Inform my shoots, which I think is fairly relative. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm trying to be respectful here, but models who used to have to model under tungsten lights had reason to complain. Models who are modeling under LED lights, I'm kind of, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of less sympathetic with. Yeah, if I'm being honest. Yeah, but you're right, it is a thing. Yeah, it is a thing. Yeah, LED are cooler than traditional constant lights too. Yeah, massively so. Yeah, people who stood in front of them for a long time. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Vlad's just talking about the don't trust the Kelvin thing. Yeah, I'm not interested in the Kelvin numbers. I'm just, and that's the other benefit of LEDs, right? I can see what I'm doing here, so I'm not going, ooh, I need to make sure that that's 3,400 Kelvin on that light. I'm doing it by eye. Yeah, so I'm standing in the water, turning it until it looks good to me. And again, something that's far harder to do with flash because you've got a modeling bulb that isn't matching the exact color and that sort of thing. So yeah, to Vlad's point there, I'm always doing it by eye. Yeah. So Kelvin is a big one for me. Yeah. So brightness can struggle in certain situations. This is the killer, right? This is the one that is going to put anybody who's questioning LEDs off. Is going to be the brightness. How bright can we get LEDs? And that's really going to depend on where you're going to be using them. Yeah. You can easily use LEDs for both stills and video. More and more professional photographers now are having to shoot stills alongside video, right? I have still managed to fight that off. Granted, I'm in a fortunate position with my photographic style, being what it is, but many other photographers are having to shoot both stills and video simultaneously, and like LEDs is just a no-brainer for that, right? Millions of colored light options. I don't need to explain this, but yeah, millions of colors at your fingertips, as opposed to like the packs of gels that I have here that Jamie kindly purchased with his own hard-earned money. Like what have we got, like 12, 20 different colors as opposed to like millions of colors. Very stable exposure and color. So this was talking about the kind of the variances when people are focus stacking or exposure stacking and that sort of stuff, whether shooting still life, when every time the flash fires you can get, for obvious reasons, deviation in the brightness. LEDs doesn't suffer from that, so it's great if you're shooting still life. You can just do all the focus stacking you want, and from the tests that I've done, almost zero fluctuation in terms of brightness and color. Yeah, models can struggle under constant bright light. Yeah, it's a thing. Panel LEDs have almost no modifiers. This is another big one, right? And this panel LED here, this is a panel in my mind. Anything that's not like a single point of light is pretty much a panel. Anything, this kind of 10, 12 inches size is going to be a panel. I know you can get smaller LEDs, debatable, but yeah, anything that's of this size is acting like a panel. Yeah, which is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous quality of light from this. I use this exclusively as my key light, and I have done ever since I got them. The downside of that is that it's almost impossible to modify. You have a beautiful light, but it's good at one thing, right? I can't turn that into a spotlight or a grid or a slice of light. It's good at one thing. It's very good at it, but it is only good at that one thing. Yeah, panel LEDs create beautiful even lighting. Just spoken about that. Gorgeous light. Yeah, anyone can use an LED light, and this speaks to, you see what you see is what you get, right? I spoke about me standing in the water, adjusting the Kelvin, right? I mean, it doesn't take much skill to do that. I'm looking at the model, going, oh yeah, that's warm enough. Boom, we're good. That's what I mean. It doesn't really take any skill to do that. So let's kind of talk about some of these characteristics in real life situation, right? When you're actually working day to day, and this will change for each of you. But for me, working in studios and that sort of thing, these are some of the kind of outlines that I'm going to give here. So Flash is instant, so that's great. It's super fast. I'm not really trying to capture anything moving very, very quickly. So although Flash being instant is a huge plus, it doesn't really factor into my day-to-day work. Flash has extra brightness, right? So it's very, very bright. Again, I work in a studio, so I have control of the room that I'm in. It's a dark room. I'm not having to overpower other lights, so it's less of a factor for me. Flash can be easier on the models. Most professional models can cope with both. In my opinion, yes. Like most professional models are absolutely fine to be stood in front of Flash and LED. Flash requires a bit more knowledge. I think it does, right? I think it does, because you need to know what it's going to look like when the flash actually fires versus what the modeling bulb is showing you and all that sort of thing. And it can take a little bit longer. Yeah. But again, most experienced shooters will know how to use both flash and LED. Yeah. LEDs are great for video. I don't shoot video, so sadly that's not really a plus for me. LED color and brightness being very stable. Again, I don't shoot still life or focus stack or anything like that. Very useful for those who need it, but not relevant for me. LEDs Kelvin value, huge. Like, yeah, I never knew how much I needed this feature until I had it, and I adjust the Kelvin on every single shoot now without fail. Yeah. Whereas before I would just have, your flashes at 5,500K and you don't, you just work with it, right? But yeah, adjustable Kelvin is huge. Millions of colors, again, right? A huge plus. And these millions of colors is, remember, it's not just max saturation. If I need a little bit of a dusty pink here in the background, I can knock it down to like 25% saturation and that sort of thing. So the adjustability and control of LED colors is massive. Yeah. LED panel light quality. So using LED panels on almost all the images that you've seen of mine in the last 12 months have come from this like 12-inch AOS here. Absolutely beautiful light on the face. Yeah. Flashes have thousands of options in terms of modifiers. That is a big one. That is a pain. But you can get single point cob LEDs, which kind of work around that issue. Just going to check questions before we carry on. I know you are, but everyone doesn't have trained eyes like you, Jack. That's fair, Vlad. Yes, what Vlad's saying there is that when people are learning, you learn by kind of understanding the boundaries and the characteristics of your lights. So yeah, Vlad's right. Most people, as they're kind of playing with the lights, they're going to go, okay, my camera is set to 5,000 Kelvin. I need to set my light to 5,000 Kelvin. What Vlad's saying there is that it is useful to kind of be wary that if you just blindly set your light to 5,000 Kelvin, is that some of these lights will have some fluctuation. I will say on the expensive lights that I haven't seen it seen a huge drift, but yeah, Vlad is certainly right to keep an eye on it. Yeah. Almost blinded the model first time I used my EOS Pro 2 lights. And yeah, like continuous is bright, Sin, you're right. Especially when you're likely setting the lights up in a dimly lit room to begin with, right? And that can kind of add to it. When you're in a dimly lit room and then you turn on the LEDs, it's like, oof, Jesus, yeah. Cranked up the power to 100% initially. Yeah, I think if you're in a controlled space, you don't necessarily need it unless you want to shoot, F8, F11, something like that, then yeah, sure, yeah. Isn't flash brightness only a concern when you're fighting the sun, though? It is. I think that it does get more complicated, Steve, once you start working in, like, you can be indoors, and like if the sun moves around and you have like a shaft of light coming in. I've got a hair shoot coming up at the end of the month, and I'm going to have a video call with the director Thursday, and I really want to be, I want to know exactly what that room is like, where the windows are, what time we're going to be shooting, like are we going to get direct sun? If I was shooting flash, I wouldn't be worried about that, right? So if you're shooting just purely LEDs and you're shooting on location, which I'm going to be shooting at the salon, then so it's something else that I got to worry about. And even though I'm going to talk to him and that sort of stuff, I'm still going to probably take a couple of big sheets of black velvet with me just in case, right? Because that direct sunlight is strong. If it cuts in, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, the same could be said for flash, really. If direct sunlight cuts in and it's hitting the skin, even flash is going to struggle. Yeah. Rhodolite to their customers up the hoop by discounting their modifiers or discontinuing their modifiers. Is that right, Sin? I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have any of their modifiers. I just use them for that one thing. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. I'll have a look at that, Sin. Yeah. I personally think the modifiers defeat the point of Rhodolite design, but I guess the choice of having modifiers is good. Yeah, it's like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but as far as I'm aware, the modifiers was just the softboxes, right? So it was kind of weird. It's like going from soft light to soft light. So because it's soft anyway, and then you can just throw up a scrim or something like that in front. But yeah, if I'm using those AOS's, I'm just using them in real nice and close and beautiful light. Yeah. So coming around, Steve mentioned the point about sunlight and that sort of stuff here and power and that sort of thing. There is a bit of confusion with power because many of us will kind of use the watt value as their kind of benchmark, right? As their kind of okay, I've got a 400 watt strobe. What if I buy a 400 watt LED? It'll be the same power. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, sadly. You still be falling considerably short. So here I've just given a couple of test examples of kind of these lights, these watt lights at max power, and then the kind of values in terms of our language, i.e. F numbers and shutter speeds and that sort of thing, to give you an idea. So this top bar here is just really showing you that all of these lights are kind of measured at the same exposure on the forehead here. That's where I'm metering them, right? So we got max power 400 watt flash, ISO 100, shutter speed 125th, f45, right? This is again, you're able to you're getting these crazy bright values mainly because it's close, right? It's not 20 feet away or out in the car park shooting in through the window, like you're bringing in these strobes close. This is how bright a 400 watt strobe is in our language, right? So transfer that to kind of a panel, 120 watt panel here, ISO 100, shutter speed 125th, f8, right? So huge difference. Now granted, you can go, well, 120 watts, the difference, stops and that sort of thing. So let's go. F8 is what? F11, F16, F22, what is it? F32 or something, and then F45 or something like that. So like five stops. So somewhere around that. I'm a bit hazy on my F numbers above 22, but yeah, somewhere around the realms of like 4 or 5 stops at least, right? Then we've got a single point LED here, which is like a cob light. So single point as in it's just a bright LED in a small space. 150 watts, ISO 100, shutter speed 120, 5.6, right? So here 150 watts, brighter than this 120 watts, yet it's giving us less, right? There is so many different things going on with LEDs. So this is why it's really difficult and really confusing for everybody to kind of get a handle on it. One final point I want to note on this is look at the exposure of the background here on the flash, right? It's the same thing here on the cob LED as well. And then look at the brightness of the background here on this panel, right? Remember, the foreheads are exactly the same exposure as we can see here. The foreheads are exactly the same exposure, but look at how much more quickly the panel drops off in power. And this again, this is the inverse square law thing that is just completely out of the window when it comes to LED panels, because we can see quite clearly that light is dropping off at a different rate, a different value from a panel compared to a single point light, right? You see how much darker the background is here. And that's because that light is dropping off far faster than it is from a single point. And that's because LEDs use this kind of large array of lights, so it's creating this mini wall of light. It has power in numbers, as opposed to a flash or cob light that is just doing it all from a centralized point. And this is why light falls off in different values. So I gotta be honest with you, like as a lighting nerd like me, I'm fascinated by this. Like this is the inverse square law just is completely redundant at this stage and is really kind of messing with it, right? And it like the inverse square law still applies. It's not a lie. It's just that we're not talking about a single point of light, right? The inverse square law only applies to a single point of light, which this isn't. So this is, like, for me, has been a fascinating learning process of the way that light falls off over distance on set now is all very, very, very different. And you can use this knowledge to your advantage, especially in a small set. So like if you're working in a small studio, a home studio and that sort of thing, this knowledge of panels and the light that they produce falling off far faster is very useful to you. You can really do some very clever things with LED panels that are simply not really possible with single points of light that spread light everywhere instantaneously. So the point here being is that like flashes is very powerful when you compare it to LEDs, and it's not just a case of buying a 400 watt LED to match your 400 watt strobe and you're good to go. It's not quite as simple as that. So light duration here, we already know flash is an instant burst and LED is continuous. So again, we need to kind of keep this in mind as well. Like flash will keep this spinning fan very, very, crisp, even though 125th of a second, the shot is actually being captured at 4,000ths of a second, right? That's what we are capturing because the flash is going off whilst this shutter is open, right? So the shutter is open for this amount of time, and the flash is happening within that shutter speed period, which is this. It's happening in there, so very, very quick, right? So this is able to capture almost anything. So any movement you have is going to be crisp. When we get into LEDs, not going to be the same, right? Because now we can have exactly the same shutter speed, right? Exactly the same camera values, ISO 100, 125th of a second, f11, exactly the same, but now the result is completely different, right? And that's because this LED is on, you've got your 125th of a second gap here, and then the LED comes in and it's filling that whole 125th of a second gap. So this is how we can create this kind of little bit of movement here, and this is something you need to be mindful of. I'm actually all for it. Like I've done shoots recently where I've really kind of leaned into it and absolutely love it. Let's have a look back here. There's loads of examples really, but here we can see like tons of movement here, right? This was shot like an 1/8 of a second or something like that. Got any others here? Again, just far more kind of organic. This is obviously a lot of movement here. A lot of movement here in the hair. Face is pretty crisp, right? So the hair is being moved by the fan, but the hair has got a lot of energy in it. Okay, and that's only possible with LED. If you were to shoot flash and you would shoot at the same shutter speed, the hair is going to be crisp, right? So it can be a downside, long exposures, ambient light can be a downside. But for me, I'm kind of embracing it, and I'm kind of loving this more organic look that you can get with LEDs. But again, your mileage will vary, right? I love my rotor lights, but if I'd known, I would have to wait for the non-light 500C that Jake uses, because then I can use my Bowens modifiers. I mean, I would look. I mean, I'm going to kind of get onto this in a minute, Jamie. I just think you need both. I really do. I know that your wallet doesn't want to hear that, but I do think that strobes are really like the jack of all trades, and LEDs are like the kind of masters of a very specific look. And look, I wouldn't trade my rotor lights and that beautiful light quality I get from that panel for anything. but do I hate the fact that I have a light that I can't modify? For sure, yeah. So I do think that it is kind of necessary, sadly, to own both if you've got the budget for it. But having an S-Fit is huge. Yeah, yeah. Sam said it's okay, Jake. We're okay. Oily skin now here in the USA. You won't get grilled like before. That's true, man. It was, yeah, that's right. It was that was a thing years ago with the there was. I won't mention any names, but there was a very well-known lighting company that was like you can't have oily skin, and B&H, like the major store over there as well, were we can't have images of collarbones, right? I think it's religious reasons. So the US years ago was very prudish when it came to a lot of stuff that I was doing, like oily skin, like collarbones. This is a big no-nos. It's just like, okay, I guess, yeah. So glad to see that you guys have kind of opened up a little bit. Yeah, now that's a much better option. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's not like they're just not going to give you that key light look. If you must get rid of your Rodolites, at least keep one of the AOSes for that key light. But yeah. But 100%, the nan lights are going to give you way more options. If you can only afford one light, yeah, then the nan light is going to give you way more options for sure. Yeah. So just kind of a visual representation of what we're talking about with the Kelvin range here. The flash typically around 5,500 Kelvin, right? Typically around here, and the LED range, depending on your LED, and how much they're lying in the stats and that sort of stuff. But for the high-end LEDs will typically give you from around 3,000 up to kind of 9,000, something like that. Some a little bit less, some a little bit more. Profoto bringing out their new LEDs, which is triple white LEDs, which means that they'll be able to go from like down here, like all the way up to like 15,000, or I think maybe even beyond, because they're using 3 white LEDs, one at each of the Kelvin ranges. So yeah, the Kelvin range on LEDs is massive, absolutely huge. So yeah, certainly for me, a no-brainer as well. Color choices, it's weird, right? But just having flash, having this one single white color, if we want to call it that, and obviously shadow, so light and shadow, but really just this one color. And then color gels. Look, I'm very grateful for color gels. I built my career on color gels and did fine with it. But yeah, having the LED colors and millions of colors is very exciting for somebody like me who is kind of tweaking by eye, right? The downside of millions of colors is that it can be a little bit daunting, right? Vlad kind of mentioned it earlier on that it's all very well for you, Jake. You've been doing it a long time. What you're looking for, and he's right. I do know what I'm looking for, but for those people who are like, I don't know what colors go well together. Does this look good? I'm not sure. Like, do I need to be at 100% saturation the whole time? Is it okay to go at 50%? So yeah, having 16 million options can be paralyzing almost. So, but I think that the creative control that offers me is nuts. Yeah, absolutely nuts. This next section here talks about quality of light, and I've kind of already alluded to this, but I do want to just kind of go over it again here. But this is a visual representation of a strobe here, and as we know, all of that brightness, all that light is coming from that centralized point, and it emanates out in this kind of cone, and that's where we get this kind of spread of light like this. And this is where hotspots come from, right? This is where, like, anybody who spent any time in this stream will know that hotspots are the bane of my life, and hotspots are really the point at which the light is closest to the model, and it's just the path of least resistance, right? So if we were to have our model standing here, right, it's going to be brighter here, it's going to be brighter here, than it is here, right? Because of the because this is right here, and light's got to travel further to get up there, and that sort of thing. Now, the same thing happens with headshots as well, and you can kind of notice it a little bit on headshots. If you just have your headshot in here, right, same thing's going to happen, is that light falls off down the body. It's going to be brightest right here on the nose and that sort of stuff. Granted, this is diminished the further you bring that away, but the counter to that is something like this panel, right? So if we have our headshot in here, right, this is coming out in a very uniform manner because we have a lot of little lights, as you can see here, right? We've just spoken about all these little lights. These panels, create this power through numbers, right? And what you end up with, when we're talking about quality of light, or what does Jake mean? Like, what does that mean? What does quality of light mean? This is this kind of ethereal phrase that people use. They don't really know what it really means to they know when they see it, but why is it happening? This is one of the reasons why this is such a great key light, is because it's so beautifully even spread of light. And that's why it looks so beautiful on the skin, is because we have the same exposure coming from everywhere over an even plane, right? Now, this effect is reduced the further you bring this away, but I use this as a key light, like arm's reach away, which at that distance, it's still pretty big, and as a result, you get beautiful light on the face. So when I'm talking about quality of light and that sort of thing, and hotspots, that's kind of what I'm referring to, and that's why I swear by these panels. So modifiers, like you guys in chat have already raised these concerns, and rightly so, in that you're like, look, it's all well having the panel, but I can't modify it and that sort of thing. It's kind of limiting, and it is. Like strobes. I mean, I use strobes for nearly 20 years, I would say. And I have hundreds of modifiers here, and they can all work on the same light. I mean, that's huge, right? In terms of a modular system, that's phenomenal. You can just buy granted I have a lot of lights now, but I had four strobes when I left art college. I went out and bought four strobes, sunk the money into 4 strobes, and I used those 4 strobes exclusively for like a decade practically, right? Because that's it, you're done. You can then modify it to your heart's content. There are some caveats to that, like LEDs, like I said, do have S-fit LEDs. So like this one here, this is the Godox one here, the SZ150R, Godox naming, and yeah, like you can then use any of these S-fit modifiers on that. And like guys in chat were saying about the nan lights. The nan light is a beautiful light, just phenomenal quality, really well made, and same thing, right? S-fit attachment. So yeah, you can do what you want with it. The benefit of the LEDs, like I've said, is that they are very, very good at one thing. Hence the panel, the tube here, very, very good at one thing, right? Phenomenal at this one thing. You can't modify that in any way at all. It's great at that one job. Yeah. So swings and roundabouts on that. For me, the sweet spot is going to be basically the panels and the S-fit, if you can afford it. If not, then the S-fit is going to give you more flexibility long term. So to kind of wrap up here, even though we've kind of been doing that as we've been going on this section here, so flash versus LED, which is kind of best, right? So the flash has that power. If you need that power, if you're somebody that, like Jake, I spend most of my time out on location, doing stuff outside, maybe I'm inside, maybe I don't have control of the windows, maybe there's huge skylights above me and that sort of thing, it's flash is still going to be the way to go, right? It is. Flash is still going to be what you need. It's just going to be less stress, right? I'm having this video call with this client on Thursday because I'm worried about the LEDs on the day. I could just turn up with flash. Actually thinking about it now, they want long exposure, so I would have to have this conversation anyway. But the point still stands in that I'm having this conversation because I'm using LEDs. Can I block out the windows? How high are they? Right? You just don't need that extra hassle. Modifiable. If you just want one light to throw in your bag, and then a bunch of kind of pop-up modifiers, like a couple of pop-up softboxes and that sort of stuff. S-Fit strobe is going to be a winner. That being said, you can get S-Fit LEDs now. So again, it's going to come back down to brightness. So freezing the motion. So even if you manage to counteract the brightness that you have, that you want, let's say you're working in a studio and you're like, Jake, I'm happy with the brightness I have, there is still going to be more motion in those shots than if you're using flash, right? You're like, Jake, well, you shoot 125th of a second, I'll probably shoot at 250th of a second. That should, it should be all right. Flash is 4,000th of a second, right? You would really need to be cranking that camera shutter to be getting anywhere near where you were with flash, and that LED would need to be unbearably bright. I know I've been kind of hard on models with their attitude towards LEDs, but yeah, if you're shooting at 4,000th of a second, anybody would complain about the brightness of the LED required. So for the LEDs, you've got ease of use, right? You just put it on the stand, adjust the power. It looks kind of good. Do I like the color? No. Tweak it. Okay, yeah, I like that color. You don't, it's not rocket science, right? Anybody can do that, especially with you guys with your fancy EVFs and that sort of stuff. You guys got no excuse. Just put it out there. LEDs are very easy to use. Millions of colors, obviously, it's a huge plus for me. Kelvin range, again, huge plus for me. Beautiful light, so they specialize in these kind of, very defined look, whether it be the panel giving you this beautiful beauty light, or the tubes giving you a very distinctive look as well. So yeah, they can be beautiful lights. Videos and stills. Do you shoot much video? If you do, again, no brainer. So look, this is not going to be one size fits all. I think it's going to be different for everybody, but if you're somebody like me that spends most of the time shooting in a studio or a controlled environment at the very least, stuff that's not moving very quickly, like models are fairly stationary. LEDs are gonna, those are really like the downsides of LEDs, and you're prepared to buy panels and S-Fits, then yeah, like the pros of LEDs far outweigh the cons for me. And like I mentioned here, like this is the best of both, right? If you got the budget for it, having a panel for your key light and then some S-Fits as well, job done. Yeah. And then we just go on to the lighting setups that I'm covering on the workshop. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Again, if you're just tuning in and was interested about the new Color 2.0 course workshop, then by all means, more details over there. The code, I think, for £50 off was like 50. So that'll give you for you guys watching the stream now. Okay. So if you're interested, check it out. I think it's going to be good. Like I said, I think we've got two spots left now. So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to get stuck into this one as well. Oily skin is in vogue, and yeah, I mean it's I think it looks good. Yeah, I think like it's interesting the phases that we go through in terms of style and fashion and that sort of thing. And back when I was doing the oily skin, it was kind of by accident, because I started off doing some gym shots, right? So I would take a window blind, like a roller window blind. I just have a tube with a old window blind in it. Take that into the gyms as the background, and do some colored stuff. I think like the original shot here, like the OG colored gel image that was shot a million years ago, was kind of more of a oily from the gym and that sort of stuff. And but it certainly wasn't fashionable back then. It was seen as something that needed to be matted down, right? All the models and stuff were matted down. All the makeup was kind of airbrushed on, so it's very matte as well. So there was kind of no shine at all. So the trend was absolutely no shine. I think that one of the reasons I was able to kind of double down on that was the way that I was modifying the light was to kind of use these huge specular highlights from the oily skin, and the way that I was modifying the light to see a direct reflection of the modifier in the skin to give these beautiful lines was something that kind of took off at the time. Yeah, I thought the point of design was to create that collimated effect modifiers, cancel that. I thought the point of the design was to create that collimated effect modifiers, cancel that. Are you referring to what? The only modifier that collimates the light, well, there is a couple, but the Fresnel collimates the light. So the Fresnel has that ridged glass, yeah, and that collimates the light, and that sends out this tube of light or pillar of light. Another one that does it is a parabolic reflector. So that's going to do it as well. Yeah. But most modifiers, like grids or softboxes, like the light is just bouncing around everywhere. Yeah. If you look at the this is the result of single points used in, like, and I'm not calling out photographers that do this because so many do it, but this is the result of using reflector dishes, right, with bare bulbs and that sort of thing. Yeah, so just a bare dish like this, and this is kind of this double and triple shadow. What's happening here with the non-collimated light is that light is bouncing around. It's going straight out and it's bouncing off the outside of the dish, and that's why you end up with those three shadows, right? Yeah. So a Fresnel collimates the light, and we have this beautiful edge, right? So that's kind of what I'm referring to when I'm talking about quality of light, and trying to, again, I'm not calling these guys out because everybody does it, but yeah, it's not a good look. Yeah. 1,000 options analysis paralysis, like coffee shops these days. Just give me one choice. You're talking about the colors, or you're talking about the actual LEDs? Because I mean, both is true. There's a lot of LEDs to choose from. Yeah. Would you avoid tweaking the colors in post with HSL? Not at all. No. The raw file in our cameras, remember, is very flat. Yeah, when you're looking at a preview on the back of your camera or in your EVF and that sort of thing, you're practically seeing a JPEG, which has a bit more contrast in it. When you get the raw, it's pretty flat. You got 8 stops of dynamic range, on even the most basic digital camera now. So, it's up to you if you want to pump up some of those colors or not. So yeah, which is what I would tend to do. Yeah. Okay. So if you have any more questions on that, by all means let me know. If you've got any queries about anything, then give me a shout and I will answer them. But for now, before it gets too late, let's have a look at the images you guys have been working on and sharing. I trust it. See, you can always count on your closest friends to to kick you while you're down. Always the Brits, man, I swear. Okay, so let's have a look at what we got here then for the 4th time tonight. What is this? I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at that. Yeah. No gels, no colour. Come on, mate. Come on. Right. Let's have a look. So, let's have a look at the replies in here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Do you have a link to that, Vlad? This thing that you're working on? Do you have a link to this that people can go take a look at? Yeah. Okay. So Vlad's up first here. All I got is selfies since I spent the last month or so writing articles and creating Lightroom tools. Here I'm playing around with super simple setup. So I finally bought some shower curtains, diffusion. Nice. NGNL, way better than diffusion cloth. NGNL, just because it has hooks and can hang. That's true. Yeah, that's true. It already comes with hooks. Yeah, yeah. Jamie, yeah, I know. I should really be charging for this mockery. Yeah. Okay, so what Vlad's talking about here and what he's working on here. Not gonna lie. Oh, okay, it's an extra one. Yeah. But you're right though about the hooks. Yeah, I could definitely see how that would be super useful, especially if you've got like a crossbar or something like that. Job done. Yeah. Good point. So what Vlad's talking about here, he's been working on stuff he's been doing. He's got this false color tool. If you guys are interested, then you certainly look it up. But false color is used all the time in the video industry, and you may have seen this on the back of monitors and that sort of stuff when they're on set. And what they're kind of looking at here is they're looking at exposure via color, right? So they're looking at kind of how exposure falls off in certain colors, and they can allocate. You see here we have the same kind of exposure in this neon yellow color, like here and here and here. So you can quite quick, if you have like a bright neon color here, you can go, whoa, it shouldn't be over there and that stuff. So Vlad mentioned this to me earlier on in the week, and he was like, what's your thoughts on this? My thoughts on false color as a tool, I think, is useful in a team, right? Where if the director or something like that is giving you this idea of what they want, you can talk the same language, right? Of how we can achieve this, and they talk about lighting ratios. Okay, we need 3:1 over here, and then you can use this tool to go, okay, brilliant. This shows me 3:1 ratio and that sort of stuff. So it's very useful for kind of building this visual language. And look, you know me, I'm always preaching about the benefits of this visual language. So false color is a great tool for that. I personally don't use it when I'm working on my work, because I think it can kind of get in the way of what I'm trying to achieve, right? I have an idea in my head. I'm trying to create my own thing here. I don't want to be biased by this color tool. So I think it's a very powerful tool, industry standard that a lot of people use, and Vlad's kind of been working on his version here. I got to say, this looks very, very clean, man. This looks very, very clean. Yeah, very clear, concise areas. Yeah, looks like you've done a very, very good job of that. I'm just looking back at the original image here. Yeah, it's very clear to see exactly. Yeah, done a good job, man. That's looking very clean. Yeah, good stuff. Here's a link to the false color listing, but it's embedded stage documentation. It's ready. Yeah, so Vlad's someone over have a look at. I haven't had a look at it yet. Hey, no worries, Wayne. Yeah, no worries. Let's have a look. Let me just grab the link. Oh, is it just going to take me over there? Let me just copy the... Oh, fuck it. That's fine. I'll come back. Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. You haven't seen this. Okay. Yeah. I'll take a look. And I am crazy busy the next couple of weeks, but I will try and fire this up and see what it looks like on some of my images. Kind of curious, yeah, for sure. Yeah. If you click the link, I do a spectrum there against the colors. Yeah. You're talking about this, right? You got a bunch there. Okay. Yeah, cool. Good stuff, man. Well done. Yeah, very good. Okay. If anybody's interested, links, Vlad's put the link in there as well, so check that out. So we got all the choppy chops here. What the hell is this? Sans latex. Working with our mutual friend Sophie again. Simple setup one stroke behind, a backdrop and another with a beauty dish, grid and sock to the right. Okay, nice. Yeah, black mist filter, added haze and drama, and yes, overexposed to backlight with intent. Okay, mate. Sure, no, for sure. I believe you. I believe you. But no, this is very cool. Yeah, tons of data in the blacks here, which must have been tricky to manage. So yeah. Did you take it, just out of interest? Did you take any shots without the black pro mist? Kind of curious as to what it looked like without. Nice kind of bloom here, kind of cool. Yeah, beautiful shot though, Jamie. Yeah, really nice. Yeah. You must have quite a high ceiling there as well to get that up pretty high, unless you don't, and that's just tucked in. No, kept the black mist on. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was just kind of curious as to what it looked like without, because it's amazing sometimes how much data those mist filters can pick up, right? Especially in the deep shadows. Yeah. I find it super useful to use false color for raw processing, like the initial stage when you get exposure in the photo using masks. Yeah. Like I said, everybody's different, and many people use it. Absolutely, yeah. False color certainly has a place in many workflows. Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, is it like townhouse or something like that? Yeah, nice. Yeah. So we've got a shot here from Anders from shoot last Friday. Nothing special here, just a simple set with gridded beauty dish as a key, blue gel, strobe and a small octopus from below as fill, strobe with reflector, gel for magenta on the white background. Nice. It's clean, very clean background, which is good. Just reading that again. Strobe reflector. So yeah, just a regular strobe with a dish with a magenta on the white background. I tried to get the model to do a little more dynamic posing, but it didn't work. Just looks silly. Yeah, I did find this hard to do with some models. Others do dramatic poses in a natural way. Yeah, it is. I think you raise a really good point there, Anders. And again, I think I was fortunate when I was kind of, learning the ropes of gels and that sort of thing. Fortunate to work with some great young ladies who could really throw a pose, and it kind of lends itself to the type of lighting that you're doing, right? If you're just doing like dynamic, crazy colored gel shot, and they're stood there trying to be all demure or delicate, like a Walmart portrait kind of pose, it kind of looks odd, right? So I do think you need to, and you are doing so. You said in the comments that you're like, I'm trying to get her to do dynamic posing, but it doesn't work. It is tough. It is tough. Music can sometimes help, but experience is really the only way, from your point of view, to get them into these poses. And a lot of the times you just got to kind of shoot through it, right? So if they're very new, then you just kind of tons and tons of encouragement. Don't ever say no, that's not working. Just kind of go, and just baby steps, right? So okay, bring your arm up, take a bunch more pictures, change the other arm, and you're just trying to get them into this process of flowing into a pose that is kind of dynamic. And there's tons of things that you can do, like Wayne Kahn taught me this, but you just say, breathe through the mouth, right? Just open up the mouth a little bit, just give you a little bit more of a natural look. You can maybe get some wind in the hair and that sort of stuff. But you're right. I think if you're going to be doing dynamic lighting, a dynamic pose certainly lends itself to it for sure. Yeah. Working with pro model is night and day. It really is. And look, the same. I mentioned it before with makeup artists, but it is. Yeah. If you're working with, I talk with people all the time, doing like, whether it be mentoring or one-to-ones and that sort of thing, and a lot of people are like, I'm sick and tired of retouching, right? It's one of the things that I hear, and it's like, it's got to come from somewhere. You either pay for a makeup artist and you need to do very little retouching, and like the AI tools can just can just take the edge off now quite comfortably if you didn't want to do any retouching. But you know, you got to have a solid foundation, and yeah, like a decent model is night and day difference. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, if you want to stop spending money on bloody lenses and book a handful of models, you get, in my opinion, you get way more value out of it. Love to know the proper way to use a snoot like this. Feels like I'm missing something while using it. Any tips? We'll go over this in the actual workshop itself, Laura. But yeah, this is not a snoot. I do not recommend snoots. One of the reasons I never recommend a snoot is this kind of double and triple shadow effect that you can get with snoots, and that may be why you're getting like kind of nasty results. I don't think I use a snoot here as an example. I know I think in the workshop notes I've actually got an example, and it's just a mess. It's not even really circular. It's got like frayed edges and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's not a great look. So throw this snoot away. If you must use something, then use like a grid with a diffusion like sheet over it like this. You could do that, or like the next step up is going to be this. Certain downsides to that, but yeah, snoots I don't recommend. Got one from Lennart here. This is looking very cool. Yeah, continuation of my experiments from last time. The concept of a glowing tattoo like flowers. Yeah, grew into the idea of glowing bones showing through the skin. I changed up the color palette as well, removed the pink. Okay, in order to focus even more on the warm projection, still lit with the size LED tubes. Okay, nice. Did a lot of poses and various graphics, but I really like model did here with the pose. Yeah. Oh mate, this is, yeah, absolutely nailed it. So good. Yeah, absolutely nailed it. And you know, I think this is one of those shoots where we've got this kind of defined idea in mind, and you're kind of just slowly working towards that, achieving that kind of that one killer shot, right? You know, this is a great example of that. This is not like you can't just have a series of 10 images like this. It's going to be very difficult, right? It's not too much movement she can do there without it looking completely different. But yeah, you absolutely nailed it. Yeah, beautiful contrast between the colors. I think the lighting is pretty much bang on, right? You just have enough skating over the edge here so that she's clearly defined, and then we just have enough shadow on the back here that this projection stands out. Yeah, excellent work. Really good. Yeah, love it. You know, and again, the tubes, no hot spots, right? If you were trying to do this with a strobe, these would be hot spotted. But again, like I mentioned to you before about LEDs and the way that they dissipate light over an area, no hot spots, very clean light over a very large area from head to thigh here. So again, like right tool for the right job, and you absolutely nailed it. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. Sammy me, hey, pro photo your expensive reflector create double its shadows. Pro photo, yes, the effect is what you're paying for. No reflectors can do it double shadows as good as ours. Don't get me started on that, man. Yeah, like it's don't make me show you the pro photo beauty dish. That's something to behold. That really is something to behold. Yeah. So one from Trevor here. Tried something new to me. Side lighting with an Axis Global Fill. Canon R6 Mark II with a Sigma 24-70 shot f8. 27mm f8 seems to be my go-to in the studio. Yeah, this is a really good topic actually that I think kind of seems kind of basic, but like basic to the point that nobody talks about it, but it's really important, is, you know, using the correct f number for the type of shot, the lens that you're using, and the type of subject that you're trying to capture, right? And if you're shooting this girl here and you shoot it to 2.8, right, like the feet are going to be out of focus, whereas I think probably at this range f8 you're probably going to have, you know, the eyes in focus, the hands, and the feet in focus. So yeah, f8 is in the studio for this sort of thing. Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely. You could have gotten away with f5.6 at this range, but f8 is just going to have you covered. The only time it becomes an issue is when you have tons of details going on in the background that you're like, oh, I don't want that to be in focus. Sadly, it is going to be, but with a neutral background like this, yeah, it's going to be. Just one thing on this, Trevor, I will just say, is that it feels like the light is kind of here. With a shot like this, if you can, just try and bring it up a little bit higher, so that we have more light coming down the body, as opposed to across. You see how we have this brighter element here, and then it's slightly darker on top. This tells me that the light is not quite high enough. We want to make sure that we're, displaying the subject with a kind of a nice light coming from above, not from the side. I know you said you wanted to test side lighting, and you can do, but just do the side lighting just a touch more so we can see it kind of creating some nice even spread there. One from Paul here. This is awesome, man. This is really cool. Check you out with the awesome color grade as well. Good stuff, man. More from my creative course I'm doing. Very out there, but I love the effect and all in camera. Thanks to Omni. So this is the Omni. If you guys remember, this is the kind of the ring that you have around the lens that with a magnet, and you kind of have, like from Lens Baby, and you have like crystals and that sort of stuff. So what we're seeing here is I think maybe a grid from a gridded panel or softbox here, and we're seeing all these lines and that sort of stuff coming from it. All the beads here as well. Kind of, those two things working really, really well together, and the axis being on the same axis as the pose. Good stuff, Paul. Yeah, I love this. Yeah. Yeah, really, really good stuff. And again, like great final color grade. Yeah, really good. That is accurate, lol. It was dead on the side. I mean, look. I mean, you clearly said I was trying the side light. Yeah. So like, I get it. You got to you got to try these things. I just think just tweaking it up a tiny bit higher, just to add a little bit of extra depth to it. Yeah. But again, Paul, on this, excellent work, mate. Yeah, really, really good. Love it. Yeah, good stuff. And in camera as well. Love to see it. Spring is in the air. So those of you who don't know, Tony is our Australian brother from down under here. So he is he's just about stepping into the spring months now, as we recede into the autumnal death spiral into winter. So he'll be sharing more and more summer shots in the beautiful Australian countryside as we put hats and coats on. Good stuff, Tony. Interested in color grade here. It's kind of, I presume you're going for this kind of vintage purple green or magenta green vibe. I think it works. You see it blooming through here in the highlights and stuff. Yeah, I would guess it's a preset, but I could be wrong. Yeah, good stuff though. Got the mirror out there as well. Nice. And that was the last one from Tony, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's that. That's the last one. That's everybody's. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, thank you for everybody that shared an image. Well, almost everybody. Thank you to almost everybody. Sin. But yeah, good stuff. Good range as always. Got some pretty much all studio lighting, creative stuff, playing with elements in camera, which is nice. Projections, good. Got some classic gels here. Playing around with light and shadow, which very, very cool. I'm glad testing out the false color in post and that sort of thing. So look, like I said, the whole reason for you guys sharing these is so that we can kind of look at what everybody's doing, look at what everybody's working on. Everybody's working on something different. It's cool. It's very cool. We got a good crop of guys and girls in here sharing work. It's good to see, man. Yeah, very good to see. And look, don't be put off if you're here like, oh my god, I want to I didn't share this week, I'd be too intimidated to share. Is absolutely fine. Apart from Sin, we welcome everybody here. So yeah, don't be afraid to share what you're working on. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much. If you're interested in the in-person lighting course or the event, do check it out. I'd love to see some more of you there. It'd be very, very cool. I know most of you here are just a bunch of thieving pirates, but you know, for those of you that aren't in that category, then you know, I would love to see you there. As always, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you tonight. Covered a lot. It's been good. Thank you for listening to my rants and raves, and let's try and do this again in a couple of weeks. Yeah, probably try and start on time next time. I can't guarantee it, but I feel like I've got it worked out this time. Yeah. All right, guys, take care. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.